Well, I mean, I do love Taylor Swift, but I'm not like fangirl.
I would bump Love Story. Like
old Taylor Swift? Oh my gosh, she got me through all of junior high school, all of high school, probably like all my breakups. Like she is a homegirl for sure.
Sure.
I've just never been a super fan of anyone.
Yeah.
I've just never been that
until
like,
recently.
fangirly. Until recently.
Who's it?
I love Harry Styles.
You love Harry Styles?
I do.
The only artist that I was a big fan of was actually Ed Sheeran. And then I found out that you dance with them for probably one of the biggest music videos of all time, right? Why do you think people are so obsessed with like musicians or artists or all that?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize people are so into it. And I don't know why not.
Why do you think that dancers in general, society, or the world objectively cares less?
The short answer is I have no clue.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Miss Brittany Cherry, welcome to the pod.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So tell me about all your travels. Where you been?
Like recently or in life?
No, I mean, you could talk about that later too.
No, recently I've been traveling for like a lot of life, which has been a nice kind of change of pace.
Versus like dance?
Versus work, yeah.
Okay.
So the beginning of this year, I was traveling almost every day. Well, actually, for like context, I'm a dancer, choreographer, producer, living here in Los Angeles, and so I travel a lot for work. But at the beginning of this year, I was gone almost every single weekend.
For like dance and stuff?
For dance. In between productions, I teach on dance conventions, which is so fun because I grew up in that space.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of it's just really fun to go teach kids.
Do you choreograph like all these dances for kids as well?
Sometimes. I don't necessarily do like dance routines at this point, like for like little kids. But right now, when I go out on these dance conventions, basically it's a multitude of things. You have your competition segment where the local studios in the area that you travel to bring their competition pieces to you. And then there's a panel of judges that give feedback into a microphone for them to like listen to later.
Yeah.
And then after.
So are you like, what's your role on like these dance conventions?
So I'm one of the judges.
Okay.
And then once the competition's over, it goes into like a huge like education weekend.
Sick.
And it's like 3 days of full days of classes. And there's a whole roster of educators there from ballroom, contemporary, hip hop, jazz, ballet. They have all these different resources to learn and grow and collaborate and build, inform connections with working individuals in the industry. And honestly, that's how it's one way that I forged my career as a young dancer.
Nice.
So
do you judge like just ballroom or just ballet or just one segment, or is it like all of the above?
So there's two different types of dance competitions.
Okay.
There's like dance convention. Well, there's a million different types, but the ones that I will be talking about, there's dance conventions where that's everything. It's hip hop, jazz, ballet, contemporary, and all of these styles. And like there's solos and duos and trios and big group numbers. All these different things will compete on the same stage, and I will speak to all of them. Luckily, I grew up a very versatile dancer and having like done most of those things, and so I feel like fine speaking to it. Whereas the other end of my life, I grew up as a competitive ballroom dancer, which is called dance sport, which is a very different arena.
Why did you decide to do that style of dance versus any of the others?
Well, I did them all. It's just I fell in love with ballroom so much. I don't know. I think
Why did you fall in love with it? What was so special about it compared to anything else?
I think it's so special to like physically connect with somebody.
Like a partner?
Yeah, a partner.
Okay.
A partner, a dance partner, and be able to communicate and express and perform and manipulate each other to create just speed and power and also intimacy and softness. Yeah. And I feel like when I'm dancing by myself, I feel less powerful. Like I like it, but I'd rather be dancing with someone else.
Yeah. What makes a good partner?
I'm not going to say communication. No. I don't know. I think there has to be a physical understanding of your guys' bodies and the way you communicate. And so there's there's a certain way you hold each other's hands, and there's a certain push and pull that's required in order to communicate what you need from your partner.
Can you articulate that even further?
Ooh, that's so hard with words. But imagine you were dancing with...
Here, try it.
I'm going to talk. I'll hold your hand.
No, with the push and pull.
So like push into me.
Okay,
but don't push me away. It's like almost like you're connecting with a wall. You'd rest your hand on a wall. You wouldn't push a wall away.
Okay.
You're pushing me away.
Oh, okay.
See?
I don't understand. I don't dance, guys.
I want to think about this as like a steering wheel. Like you're driving a car, right?
We're driving.
If you connect with the steering wheel, you're not pushing your hands down on the steering wheel, right?
Yeah.
And in order to manipulate it, you just move your own body and the steering wheel will follow.
Yeah.
Now, imagine if the steering wheel turned into a wet spaghetti noodle.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Would you be able to, what would happen to your car?
You'd probably crash.
You wouldn't be able to control it.
Sure.
You wouldn't be able to communicate to your vehicle where you want it to go. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing with a partner. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to be strong on your own 2 feet and, not immovable.
Yeah.
You have to be flexible, but you can't be a noodle or else they're not going to be able to manipulate you the way that you need them to.
So you grow a lot together. Do you have to stay with one partner in these competitions, or do you switch?
A lot of people stay in
because you got to get to know their style,
partnerships.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of these people end up married or whatever. I left I retired at 17.
So retired at 17?
Yeah.
That's interesting because like so many people, I guess dancers that I've known, they have so many partners throughout their dance career. Like you do this gig with someone or this show and XYZ to compete with the same singular partner for a long period of time. That must be super intimate.
Oh, it's very intimate. And it's like any relationship, there's highs and lows and breakups and whatever. It gets a little messy. But for something like competitive ballroom in that arena,
Can you describe competitive ballroom?
So it's not what you see like on Dancing with the Stars. It's more so, it's a sport. And actually there's this really awesome, before I get ahead of myself. Ballroom competitions it's a very different arena because it's not like a proscenium stage where you would see a theater. Mm-hmm. It's not like stage and audience.
Proscenium. Okay, I learned a new term today, guys.
Yes, so it's more like presenting, right? This is in a ballroom, and the stage is 360. There's an audience all around the room. Oftentimes, there's a live band. Your judges walk around to judge. They're not like seated like a panel. They're really involved. And instead of coming on and doing your routine to your song and then you go off and the next person goes, you all have an understanding of what the 5 dances that you're expected to know in the competition, which would be, if we were talking about Latin ballroom, it would be about cha-cha, samba, rumba, paso doble, and jive. Each of these styles have a different tone of music and beat value, different vocabulary and syllabus, and a different vibe altogether. And you perform on the stage, on the floor, with all the remaining couples at the same time. So it's very like the men wear numbers on their backs and you're competing for attention and you want the judges to look at you, mark you down, call you to the next round, and they weed that down from 200 couples to 6.
What are they looking for?
It's very political.
Yeah.
It could be almost compared to maybe figure skating.
Okay. Hello, friends. I hope you are enjoying the show. I just wanted to chime in and talk to you about Bucked Up. If you need more protein in your diet, creatine to aid your muscle growth as well as recovery, or pre-workout for your demanding sets during your workouts, Bucked Up has you covered. I use their Snickerdoodle protein and creatine monohydrate every single day. And on days I don't feel like working out, their BAMF nootropic pre-workout keeps me swinging kettlebells, running mountains, moving weight inside and outside the gym. If you'd like to try them out and save some money, use code NateBiltz1 for 20% off any order. And back to the show. I was thinking, is judging very subjective or is there a point system? Because like the best thing that I could relate it to is like I watch a lot of UFC, right? And for example, at the end, a lot of people are like, no, that guy won or this guy won. But there is a point system to it. Like if you have a takedown in UFC, you get a point, right? Or a headshot or XYZ, for ballroom dancing or Latin ballroom dancing, is there like a point system or anything like that?
No,
It's just like, I like Brittany Cherry. She's moving on.
Yep.
Really?
Yep, for
Wow.
sure. So like, maybe there's 50 couples on the stage at one time. You either get a call back or you don't.
Okay.
So it's like yes or no, basically at this point. And you do this from quarterfinal to semifinal to final, whatever. Once you get down to the final 6, then you get placements. So you can score 6th in your first dance, but then you could score 1st in your second dance. And like how they feel your technique is, your performance value, your representation, your floor craft, how you navigate your floor and not bump into other people, or you respectful of the space.
Oh, so you're literally dancing with everybody on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
At the same time.
That's the best thing I could think of. That's kind of like, is it like Hairspray type of deal? But
okay.
but not,
yeah, similar.
But not like, obviously that's type of style of dancing.
How they all kind of boogie, and then they like, oh, you're on the next round.
Next round. That's interesting. How can someone pay attention, or how can one judge pay attention to everybody?
They can't.
Yeah.
So you hope they look at you.
Oh, what? Does costumes or outfits, they have to matter then, right?
Oh my gosh. Think about the most rhinestones you can think of, and then times it by 5,000. And then like put them on your face and like put them in your parts, and it's everywhere. Rhinestones are everywhere. Everyone looks amazing. It looks fabulous.
Did you make your own costumes?
My mom used to design my costumes.
That's beautiful. Shouts out mom.
Yeah, my mom is amazing. My parents are so supportive of me. And yeah, they did everything they could to like provide me with all of the tools that I needed.
That. I guess, how did you start? Because I was looking some stuff up. You started at 3, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does one? I don't know if I could even walk by 3. Like, that's.
I mean, it's safe to say I'm a little bit of a psycho. No, I think my mom might have had like a little VHS at home, and it was like a little ballet thing. And all I remember is it would tell me to like go point, flex, bunny ears, and a round of applause. And I was obsessed with it. And so at that point, my mom put me in dance class, and I fell in love with it.
She saw that you were curious about it.
Yeah. As I would assume I would do if my kid expressed any sort. I don't have kids, but like if they ever expressed interest in something, yeah, let's try it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm a psycho. So at 5, I was watching. I'm from Utah. We didn't really have cable or anything. PBS is what I watched, and PBS had a ballroom programming of something called the Ohio Star Ball, which is a dance competition. And I saw this woman on the TV, and I was like, oh, I love that. I was like, I want to do that.
I want to be her.
Yeah, exactly. And I just fell in love. Lo and behold, this woman's name was Ashley Del Grosso. She's now Ashley Costa. She used to be on Dancing with the Stars. She was from my hometown. And so in Utah. And so I ended up going to this dance studio and starting ballroom, and the one where she studied. Okay. Yep. It was actually her mother was one of the owners. And yeah, I just fell in love with it, and I couldn't find a little partner.
A little do they call them couples? Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah, I couldn't find a partner, and so I would harass all the boys in my first grade class.
Find a partner, because I remember growing up, like 1st grade through even 8th grade, like dance was like, ew, like you dance, you're disgusting for like not a guy, or like
no, it was like you're a sissy if you dance.
You're a sissy, right?
I mean, that's the time we grew up with.
And so, like I'm like, why didn't I take a dance class growing up? Like that's sick. I took a couple out here. They're hard. Like I look weird.
Gentlemen listening, look, dancing is very cool. It's very cool. It's very it'll get the girls.
Oh, for sure.
They like it.
Why do you think that it was that way? Like when we grew up.
Well, I mean, like when you are, let's say, I think 1st grade is when I started asking all the boys at school if somebody would dance with me, and I finally found someone.
Sure. Shouts out.
Yeah, Rory.
Rory?
I think that was his name. Okay. I don't remember. Short-lived.
Dang, don't you remember your first dance partner?
I think it was Rory.
I'm kidding.
I think. I mean, I have to ask my mom. But I think at that age, you start forming friendships. You start understanding social cues and getting embarrassed. And having insecurities, like that's when you start understanding what those are, you know? And so kids can be a little ruthless. And I think at that age you get embarrassed and you're like, oh, you want to dance? And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
But I kind of.
But I really do. But that was never me. I was never embarrassed.
Yeah, I feel like girls, it was fine, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I think it's different now.
Yeah. You think growing up, like dance for guys is a lot more accepted?
Now?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so.
I go back home and I have a little cousin who showed so much interest in dancing growing up. And like his dad, my uncle, just like wasn't about it. He's like, no, he's going to play some sports. He's like, and I was like, come on, let the dude dance, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I also think that's just like a generational thing and like the idea of like manliness, you know? And,
yeah.
and actually now with, you know, social media and reality television shows, I think that the world now has been educated that like dance is not just what you think it is. And the type of person who dances is not just who you think they are.
A lot of these like ballerinas, like what's a guy ballerina? Guy ballerina.
Ballet
Dancer. I don't know. They're jacked. Flexible and jacked. I was like, I want to be flexible.
Every single muscle of their quads. I'm like, how?
Oh, and they probably lift weights as well, but like their physique's insane.
They do.
No?
I mean, maybe they do. But you can't be too jacked.
Like too big. Right?
Yeah, you can't. Because then you're too tight.
Yeah.
But like, it just happens. There is no workout like dancing. Like, you want to get fit, learn to dance.
So you don't work out then?
No, I don't dance.
You don't dance as much?
No.
Why not?
I think, well, to really dive into it, I feel like I was working on a show and I worked on this show for many, many years. I was very burnt out.
Is this Dancing with the Stars?
Dancing with the Stars,
okay.
Yes. So on Dancing with the Stars, I worked as a troupe member, but I started
what does that mean?
So my journey on Dancing with the Stars started when I was 12 years old.
Okay. Wait, you won the kids one, right?
Yeah, they had a kids thing. So this was season 6, and they would have these things called Macy's Spotlight segments.
Okay.
And during this season, the Macy's Spotlight segment was a kids' little mini challenge competition thing. And at the time, a lot of my teachers and coaches were pros on the show already. And so they were like,
nice.
oh yeah, hit up our dance studio, whatever. They interviewed all of us kids, and I ended up being selected to be on this competition.
How'd that feel as a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old?
Oh my gosh, so exciting.
It's like your dream, right?
Yeah, it was so exciting. Oh my gosh. So this would have been my first live television experience. And through this, I fell in love. I was like, whoa, this is the excitement I'm looking for. Like, performing in front of people is cool, but there's something about that little red light next to the camera and like the heightened arena that I was in. It was so out of this world, and I just needed to do that. And so from there, you know, the show kept a relationship with my dance studio. They would bring us out for little special performances and stuff. And by the time I turned 18, I was working on the show.
Already. So, but you were still dancing. You were doing all the things.
Yeah, dancing, performing.
Sure.
And in these performances, I would basically be part of what's called a troupe. So for lack of a better word, it would be the ensemble team of dancers that support opening numbers and background dancing and guest artist performances. And you know, any sort of support the pros, which is an interesting thing because everyone's professional there, but the pros would need any support, we would provide that.
The main dancers,
yes.
You'd say. Okay, cool.
Yep.
But so circling back around to why you're not dancing as much.
So I did that for, oh my gosh, I want to say 12 years.
12 years.
That from, you know, start to finish. And, you know, they lock you in a pretty tight contract. My contract ended up ending. And at this point they were doing 2 seasons a year, 2 tours a year. And I was so burnt out. And at that point, that had been really really everything that was listed on my resume was basically Dancing with the Stars. And I was like, what am I doing? What do I do from here?
Yeah. What's the next step?
And so I ended up reaching out to somebody who I had worked with before. And I was like, look, I respect you. I love what you're doing. I need a change of scenery. I don't know what that is, but I want to learn from you. Mm-hmm. And from there, they kind of brought me in, and I pivoted into a supervising choreography role, which is not dance. And from there, I did that for a long time, and I pivoted into producing. So I just kind of, the natural course of my life took me away from performing. And I was okay with that at the time because I was really not sure if I even wanted to do it. I was just recovering from a shoulder surgery. Yeah. And I was just like, this is fun and I like it. It feeds a different part of my creativity, but it's interesting and I'm learning, and I just kind of just stopped. Not that I don't dance, I just don't do it as much. I have to work out.
In what way is it creative versus the dance itself?
Oh, well, the dance itself is physical. It's not creative.
Oh, so you're just basically learning the moves.
As a dancer, you're moving, right? And it is creative in the sense of like the way you use your body and the flexion you choose to use is like a voice, and you know how you choose to riff, or if you choose to go high or low on a certain word, that can be creative. It's
like hitting that beat hard. Like,
exactly. Okay. Are you hitting it soft? Are you hitting it hard? Whatever. The flexion in the dance is where you can be creative, and like the way you perform and the way you storytell. But the choreography is done by the choreographer. And that's creative.
What's the difference between the producer and the choreographer?
So there's very many. I want to also just like go back. Dance is creative. It is creative for sure, but you're not creating. You're not creating the piece as the dancer on the job.
Before we continue this week's conversation, I just wanted to take a quick moment and talk to you about our friends at Mudwater. Their original blend is a coffee alternative made of 100% organic cacao, masala chai, turmeric, lion's mane, reishi, and cordyceps to give you natural energy and focus without the jitters or crash. When I know I'm gonna have a long day ahead of me, I mix the Mudwater original blend with some whole milk and a couple drops of honey to elevate my day. In my opinion, it's more flavorful than a chai latte and is better fuel for my body. To elevate your day and get the benefits of coffee without the jitters or crash, click the link below to receive 20% off. And back to the show.
So choreographers, if you go back in history, they, the definition is director of movement. Okay. And they would work very closely hand in hand with the directors of movies. And so you look at old movies with like Sid Charisse and Frank Sinatra and Singing in the Rain and all these things. And the choreographer would work at a director level. And they would create movement with the body with perspective. So it's not like, oh, we're just doing these moves and then the cameraman's going to shoot it. However,
what story are you telling?
It's like, how do I want the audience to see? Am I wanting them to see this side of my interaction, or am I trying to open it up and show this side of my interaction? And they will craft and cater the story and the movement to fit the scene. And yeah, so basically they create the dance moves as the choreographer.
What's the, I guess, process of shooting the angles for it? Because, for example, like each piece could, not necessarily the story, but the view of it's different from each angle, correct? So like the way you dance towards the camera this way versus side profile is going to be completely different.
Totally. Yeah. Well, and so that's why I said back in the day, that's technically what the choreographer's role would be, to be working collaborative on perspective and storytelling with the filmmaker. And now choreographer is more so the dance moves. And if you're lucky, you get to work with a director who wants to collaborate with you.
Got it.
And this is not everyone, and this is not everyone's experience. This is just like my own personal view on it. And it's nice when you get to work with somebody who's like, oh yeah, that would be awesome if we shot it that way.
Yeah. So the choreographer back then was basically the choreographer as well as the producer today.
Director
today. Okay. So what's the producer?
So I work mostly as a performance producer.
Okay.
There are so many different types of producers, and I'm not going to speak to those, but basically the producer is the person that, say the creative idea is this. The producer, it's their job to then articulate it to all of the creative teams and make it happen, bring it together, make sure everybody's on the same page, and facilitate to stage or to shoot day or to whatever your medium is. And so you're producing the product, or you're producing the event, or you're producing the performance. You're creating it with the other teams and making sure that they're on board and you're steering the ship.
Heck yeah.
So as a performance producer, I work mostly in performance-based broadcasting. So whether that be a reality competition show that's like dance or singing or whatever, shiny floor stage, or I will work on specials, like a sing-along special for Disney, or I just did something for Dick Van Dyke with CBS. He turned 98 years old. Wow. We did a 2-hour special, and there were, I think, 13 performances over 2 hours. Yeah. And so it would then be our jobs to produce those performances. And as the performance producer, I am privy of to the conversations and get to be included in the conversations of the think tank. Yeah.
Of like every small aspect of
every
each
single
lane.
thing you think of, that's where we start
magic
ruminating on. Yeah, exactly. And so, it's everything from what artists do we want to bring in and sing this song? Who fits right for this project? Okay, we have our singer, we have our song. Okay, what's the vision? Do we want flowers in the screens? Do we want laser looks? Do we want low ground fog? What type of props? What type of set? So you have, talent, music, lighting, graphics, props, set design, costume, makeup, hair, everything, extra dancers. What choreographer do we want to bring on? And that's where we kind of think about what exactly does that look like? Okay. Now that we have the building blocks of this hypothetical performance, then we have something called an HOD meeting, which is the head of the department's meeting. So you have your your art department that handles stage design, and you have your head of hair and makeup, and you have your head of, name that department.
And do you reach out to each of these vendors?
They will be hired already by the line producer or the showrunner, or
there's a lot of puzzle pieces.
There's a huge army of people that makes a 1-minute performance.
That's crazy.
It is so crazy. And so I really kind of fell in love with this journey and learning the other side of what I did, because I had no idea. When you're in front of camera, that's really your scope.
Yeah.
You really have no clue the amount of people and the amount of hours
that goes behind everything.
Oh my gosh, no clue. Because you're the talent.
Yeah.
You just show up.
What made you curious about, I guess, getting into behind the scenes? Was it just working with Dancing with the Stars for so long that you were like, I want to learn more about the production side and all the aspects and pieces that go into it?
Well, I think that, number one, I'm a very curious person. And I always have been. And I always want to learn more or put myself into situations where I'm like,
what's going on?
I'm going to do it.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just me by nature. I'm always happy to learn and excited to learn. And that's what kind of got me into choreography in the first place. When I was on Dancing with the Stars, part of your role is to choreograph. Although you may not get credit or you may not be recognized as that in your role, you're choreographing in and out. They're called bumpers, in and out of commercial breaks, or you're choreographing for celebrity guests, or you're choreographing for opening numbers. And so over that time, I really got to hone in my voice as a choreographer and really learn that skill. So I felt from there, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try choreography. And so from there, that was my natural progression. And so I stepped into a supervising producer role. Supervising choreographer role, which was a very different thing on a TV show called World of Dance.
Are you a lover of making cocktails or work as a career or part-time bartender? If so, mix like a pro with A Bar Above. A Bar Above has the best mixing tools on the market, from shakers and strainers to mallets and ice picks. A Bar Above has you covered with all your cocktail needs. Use code BILTZ, BILTZ, for 10% off any order. What's your process for choreographing a dance? Like, you hear a song, right? And then like these moves just come into your head and you're like, that's it? Or like, what is it?
No. It's hard to put into words.
No, I think it's a beautiful process because like I've been to a lot of dance shows in LA and I'm like, how did someone think of that? You know?
Some of the things people think of, I'm like, I could never.
Yeah.
The amount of creativity that people have inside of them blows my mind.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty structured person.
Okay.
So it's not so much about like, for me, being the most creative.
Okay.
There's a time and a place for that. And I just have never really tapped into that. So for me, when I create a piece or a number, after the song is, well, I guess there's two different versions of this. There's like, if I'm choreographing for a project, and then there's like, if I'm choreographing for a concept video for myself, like a performance piece that I just want to do a passion project thing. For a job, I get the piece, I get the arena. When you're the choreographer, you don't get to choose what scene we're in or what the scenario is or how many dancers we have. We can request how many dancers we want, but it's really like, here's your pieces, put together something. Which is, for me, works because it gives me a format of like, these are the parameters, go crazy.
It's like, what magic can I make out of the rules that have been set for me?
Exactly. So once I get my music or my script or whatever it is, I then like, I'll sit with a pen and paper and I will tally out the bars in the music. X amount of bars in the first verse, and then we're going to cut to the second verse right away. Okay, X amount of verse in the second verse. And then we go, the chorus is 16 bars, whatever. And I'll write it out. And then I'll be like, okay, well, this is how I want it to form. During the first two verses, I want it to start with two people, blah, blah, blah. By the time we get to the chorus, I want a big group number.
Do a lot of people choreograph this way or no?
I don't know.
Yo, you don't know?
No, I don't know.
Because that's super interesting. I've never heard anyone choreograph this way.
Well, this is how I structure my mind.
Yeah.
So once I have the structure of like, okay, during this, if you're using timestamps, during, 0 to 15 seconds, I want this vibe. And then 15 to 30 or 45, I want these things to happen during this time. And for me, that really helps me because I will sit and try to think of one dance move for 5 hours and I will just suck. So I need those parameters for myself.
So structure helps you with your creativity.
Yeah.
Okay.
For me.
Yeah.
Like a blank canvas stresses me out.
Sure.
Or if I'm like super passionate about a song and I'm like, oh my gosh, I see the song and I see it in this, I see it in a living room and blah, blah, blah. I have like a whole vision. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make a little mini music video out of it. That is different though. Because then I'm
Do
like,
you still have those feelings?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a partner. His name's Paul Carmerian.
Okay.
He's amazing. We have shared the majority of our careers together and we just love to create together.
Yeah. You guys did a piece in was it like the desert or something like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That one was sick.
Thanks. Oh man, that was a long time ago. We've, sometimes it's a swing and a miss, but you gotta just try.
And how does that process go? You're like, I have inspiration, Paul. Let's go to the desert and just dance and have a friend film it. Or
that one was a little bit more unique. But what that process would look like is, we have a song that we really like, and we're like, okay, where does this song look? What does it look like? What scenario does this look like? What is the story that we would want to tell with this song? And from there, we just get into the studio, and that is definitely more of a free-form creative space because ballroom is so technical and there's such a syllabus to it. When you're creating with another ballroom person, there's a certain vernacular and series of steps that you understand that go with the style.
Yeah.
Like jujitsu. You know what type of moves they are, but you may not know where they're going, right? They have an understanding of the syllabus and the words and the, body movement. It's the same thing. There's certain steps that we know.
So you're not trying to choke each other out.
Exactly. Exactly. So, because we have this kind of underlying syllabus and understanding of what our bodies are capable of and our style of movement and communication, then he and I will just start to kind of move and be like, no, that didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Or, oh, yeah, let's keep going. Just because we're dealing with the two of us. Yeah. It's not like we're dealing with a sea of dancers.
What does that creativity or creativity in general do for you now as someone who who's not the talent, who's someone who works in production and choreography and all of this? Like, what does the creativity of dance, of coming up with moves for yourself, do for you now?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've really battled with it, honestly, these past couple years, finding the urge to be creative in that way. I think self-doubt creeps in for sure because your body stops, my body is different than it was 5 years ago when I was dancing at a high level every single day, every single week. And I'm still fully capable of those things. And I've been thrusted into positions where I need to use my body. So I know it works.
Yeah.
But there's still that like, I'm
good.
Yeah.
But if you were locked in like just a studio by yourself and you were just coming up with things purely just
I don't love that. I don't love that.
You don't love that? Why not?
That is not for me. Never has been for me.
Okay, with a partner.
Yeah, I would do it with a partner.
Okay.
I don't know why. I'm not like a person that's like, I just want to freestyle.
Sure.
Maybe when I was younger, I did that a lot more. But yeah.
I
don't know. I am finding the urge to dance again. I actually took a dance class just a couple of days ago.
Let's go.
So it's in there, but it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of me accepting that like I can change and I will change.
Yeah.
And I can't dance forever. And that's ultimately what my pivot.
Yeah.
My shoulder surgery, I had a labral tear and a bicep tendon tear in 2017. And I had that repaired. And that was really like, okay, you need to take interest in other things.
Yeah, did that mess with you at all?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, it like pinpointed like, oh, this is not forever, and you are not guaranteed everything.
Yeah.
And
dancing's taxing on the body, and I feel like a lot of dancers like take it for granted. And you realize like this is your moneymaker. This is what I do for a living.
Oh my gosh, I used to treat my body so sad. I just would not. When you're young, you just don't get it.
Is this just a stereotype, or from all the experiences of me with dancers, they all eat bad? Bad.
I think it's different now. Like, with social media, like health and wellness is definitely at the forefront of a lot of conversations, and it's everywhere.
But I mean, we live in the U.S. A lot of people are unhealthy.
When I was on So You Think You Can Dance, we went to Vegas week, which is like, Vegas? Yeah, ticket to Vegas. And that was the most intense thing I had ever been. We're dancing probably 15 hours a day. And they feed you bananas and Panda Express. We got Panda Express fed to us. Do you know how terrible that is for you?
You could get some healthy options. There's the
like
teriyaki
chicken.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
And
she's like, Nate, no, that shit was bad.
It was not good. Mind you, this was like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, especially when you're young, like you eat whatever you want and you're so active. Your metabolism's like, yay.
Do you tell like younger dancers growing up to take care of your body because you won't have it for that long?
Yes, but not in like a food thing. I mean, you should enjoy yourself. You should not starve yourself. There's so many terrible things out there that like trigger eating eating disorders or like body dysmorphia or like whatever, especially in the dance or athlete space.
Yeah.
And so I'm never going to speak to that. But I will encourage dancers to take care of their bodies in the sense of like learning how to run properly or stretching before and after everything, or when they're dealing with partnering, learning how to carry themselves and learning how to place someone down on the floor. Like really safety measures to ensure that the physicality of their bodies are not being harmed by their actions or lack of actions. Because I don't know. I would just like step into a full-blown show without
warming up or...
Oh, yeah. A full 90-minute tour show, probably dancing 15 routines at like high intensity and no cool down. I'd go back to the bus, eat your chow mein, whatever it is.
Chow mein slaps though sometimes.
Yeah, I mean...
After you're dancing for 15 hours.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I guess circling back around to the creativity aspect in terms of, I guess, the production side then. Like, what do you like about creating something out of nothing in the sense of you are a huge puzzle piece that turns, that makes the show, that makes this production a production?
I think that in that role, it's less creativity.
Okay.
But it's more creative problem solving.
Yeah.
So you have an understood idea of what the goal is for the project and for the client and for the network and whatever, because there are so many people that you answer to. And problems arise. And it is in those moments that you can show your creativity. You know, what if we tried this? What if we hired this person? What if we thought about it this way? You know, I know this type of artist, they'd be great, you know? And it's really creative problem solving and communication. It's really that role. I think any role ever in any industry is about communication and how you treat people. Because you also, as a producer, you are kind of this center puzzle piece to all of these other creative departments. And they need to have their own creativity as well. So I'm not sitting here being like, this is the exact vision and I want this hue of blue and I want this type of fabric and whatever. It's collaborative. And so you basically create the essence of the performance and then, you know, delegate to the appropriate team. And give them feedback or give them creative solutions to the problems that they then bring back to you.
Have you had any problems sleeping or snoring? If so, hostage tape could be your answer. Mouth taping and only nasal breathing has shown to prevent snoring and offset sleep apnea. It brings more oxygen to the brain, gives more aesthetically pleasing craniofacial features, and improves your overall cardiovascular health. Give it a try at www.hostagetape.com and use code NATE49486 for 10% off. How was growing up with a hearing deficiency?
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, I was born deaf in my right ear.
Completely, right?
Completely deaf in my right ear.
I thought you hated me at first. So I met Brittany at F45 and I was coaching one time and I just said something about form or anything and like you didn't acknowledge me at all.
You're lying.
No, a couple times. Well, you told me, you're like, oh, Nate, just letting you know, like I can't hear you. And I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. But I think it was probably like a month or two. And I was like, I think this chick hates me.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I have to tell people like up front.
Yeah.
I probably didn't even notice the first. I
know what I'm saying. Yeah. You didn't even acknowledge me. I was like, wow, she's purposely ignoring me.
Oh my gosh. I have to tell people, even like at a dinner, whatever. Yeah. I just meet them. I'm like, hey, I'm so sorry. Just so you know, I can't hear in my right ear.
I feel like
so
it's good to preface it.
I'm not being a bitch.
Yeah. I feel like it's good to preface it because then people think you're ignoring you.
People, but also, you know what's the worst is people always hug on the like right side and then they're like, and I'm like,
is it the right side?
Oh yeah, you always hug on the right. Everyone always hugs on the right. I don't know what it is. I don't know what in life was like right is.
I feel like you might be the only person to actually pay attention to that.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't even know what side I hug
someone and I'll like, do the little neck maneuver, and then they think I'm like trying to go in for a smooch.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just tell me on the other side.
Tell me on this side, please.
So no, growing up, it was definitely a challenge for sure. My parents didn't realize I was deaf until I think I was like 3.
When you started dancing and you couldn't hear the beat?
Not yet. Yeah. This was before this.
I'm joking.
But they're like, wait, she's not moving. No, I have 100% sensory neural hearing loss in my right ear.
Okay.
I have not been to an ENT in probably since I was like 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
An ear, nose, and throat specialist is what that is.
Okay.
And at the time, last time I went, I had 30% conductive hearing loss in my left ear.
Mm-hmm. Conductive meaning? Fancy word?
It's a fancy word. No, essentially, I have hearing loss in a tonal range.
Okay. So like
men,
30 feet away, 20 feet away? Oh, no, close.
Oh, no. It's more so like lower tones.
So like if someone's singing baritone to you, like you can't hear it?
I can hear it.
Okay.
So like if a man with a deep voice or even like a woman with a more monotone voice is speaking to me, I can hear the fluxion of their voice and like the, but I don't hear the articulated words. And I have to like watch them speak because I'm like, what are you saying?
That must be a superpower to people who you just don't want to hear.
You know where it is? No, because I never want to come off as rude.
I'm joking.
But you know where it is? A superpower in my bedroom. Because if I want to go to bed, I just...
Oh, you sleep like a baby, probably.
Oh, I sleep...
Wow.
Oh, I sleep amazing. And I have 2 French bulldogs, and they snore so loud. And my husband's like, are you kidding me?
And you're just out.
He's like, you slept like a baby all night, and I did not sleep at all.
Shouts out Brian.
Yeah, Brian's the MVP. But yeah, but growing up, it definitely gave some issues, like socially.
Yeah.
And I was just a little different, I had a really hard time hearing direction. Like if my phone's ringing in my house, I will like do a full circle, and I will look at the whole house, and like it's right underneath me. So I
guess in the dance world, like, did it affect you at all? Because you have to pay attention to beats. You have to pay attention to rhythm.
Totally. So as a young girl, dance definitely educated me in like how I could identify sounds for sure. Surprisingly, I'm not tone deaf. I'm not going to sing for you. Don't ask. But
Sounds good.
I'm not tone deaf. But I did need to learn how to identify bass notes, bass tones. And so, at a very young age, if you're doing like a recital on a stage, the speakers would be facing out towards the audience. And at that point, that's when I really noticed like, oh, I can't hear the music. That was really hard. Now they have more surround sound and stuff like that.
So you could go to a concert and be like, I still enjoy this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Concerts, I love live music. I'm not like a mega like rave girl.
I don't love raves.
I
understand
I'm not
it.
like
I understand
a
it.
music festival girl. Yeah. Like I want like, I'll go see the Eagles.
Sure.
I love that stuff. I'll go to a jazz
night or
lounge.
Like
yeah. But I am going to go see Justin Timberlake this weekend.
Oh, yeah? He is touring again, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he just released a new album. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Question mark?
I don't know that I've...
Listen to it.
Yeah.
It's all right. You're going to go listen to it right now.
Yeah, I am.
Apparently
hopefully he'll sing some like oldies but goodies.
Apparently there was some tea about... He released a song. I forgot the name. I'm mad that I forgot the name. But it was the same name as one of Britney Spears' top hits.
Oh.
And so all the Britney Spears fans...
Oh, they hate him.
They
don't like him.
They bought more of Britney Spears' old song to make it jump above Justin Timberlake's like ranking for his song that just came out or something like that.
No.
And I only know that because when I was bartending, my bar manager, she's obsessed with Britney Spears, has been to 16 concerts of Britney Spears.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like die hard. And I was like, she was like, yeah, I bought a few of them too. And I was like, wow, that's shouts out.
That is dedication. That is fandom. I've never been a fan of anyone.
Okay.
Like
why do you think people are so obsessed with like musicians or artists or all that? Like they get into it. It's like a god.
My best friend, I have a best friend from home, and she and I, like, you know, your best friend from home, I haven't lived there in like almost 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know all of the things about them anymore because you know, things, whatever.
Life.
I did not realize until this maybe a couple of years ago I found this out, but she's a Swiftie. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was in town. I was staying at her and her husband's house, and she was like, let me show you the Easter eggs. And we watched Taylor Swift music videos, and she showed me, pause. She paused it. And she's like, do you see that in the corner? That is the number 13. And you know how many songs are in X album? 13. And you know, and she goes down this rabbit hole of like the Easter eggs and what they mean. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize people are so into it. And I don't know why not. You know, I did become a fan last year though.
Of Taylor Swift?
No. Well, I mean, I do love Taylor Swift, but I'm not like fangirl.
I would bump Love Story.
I mean,
like
old Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh, she got me through all of junior high school, all of high school, probably like all my breakups. Like she is a homegirl for sure.
Sure.
I've just never been a super fan of anyone.
Yeah.
I've just never been that
until recently.
Fangirly. Until recently.
Who's it?
I love Harry Styles.
You love Harry Styles?
I do.
What do you love about Harry Styles?
No, he's just amazing.
Brittany's hands are sweating right now thinking about Harry Styles.
Thinking about him.
Or just on here. One or the other.
No, he is just awesome. You know, I met him like a million years ago, and I was like, One Direction, yeah, you're cool. Oh. Also, he was sitting on the side of me, and I couldn't hear him, and I was like, okay.
Dang, you're a regular hugger. What kind of person are you?
Yeah, he was sitting here, and he has such a soft voice.
Sure.
When he's not singing. But I went to his concert last year with a girlfriend, and she's like, I have an extra concert. You want a ticket? You want to come? And I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was unprepared for the show I was about to receive. I think I fell in love. He's a great singer, but his music feels nostalgic already. I don't know why. It feels like I'm like...
It's like he's like old school.
Yeah, he feels old school, and it feels like it's like in my soul, and I just love him. And he's such a good performer, and he has this like weird androgynous, he doesn't care, but he's so masculine thing.
Yeah, I'll wear a dress and like it.
I don't know. I just think
what's up with all these men wearing dresses?
I mean, to each their own.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have no issues, but I mean, if Brian showed up in a dress, that'd be a little weird because that's just not him, my husband.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, that's a little off-brand.
Yeah.
But
like I saw Russell Westbrook wear a dress like recently. He's a basketball player.
Okay.
He showed up in a dress. I was like, oh, I feel like it's shock value. You think shock value too? Because like I wouldn't.
Well, if
for
you
example,
go back to like the 1700s, men wore skirts and heels.
I feel like it was just hot.
Maybe they got hot and they moved on to pants.
Maybe.
Or opposite, they were
cold.
They were cold and they needed to cover up.
I don't understand the heels though. They wore heels too?
They wore like cobblestone little heels, and yeah. I'm probably way wrong on my timing of this, but it definitely happened at some point in history. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like for some, definitely shock value. Yeah. I also think for others, it's like, I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care either.
Yeah, it's like whatever. Do what you want to do.
Yeah. You know what's weird and off-putting is when it seems like somebody's doing something for shock value. That's when I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, what are you doing? But if it feels authentic to them and like they're just living their life, then who cares?
The only artist that I was a big fan of was actually Ed Sheeran. And then I found out that you dance with him, or for probably one of the biggest music videos of all time, right?
Yes, I get a little blushy about it.
It's like, I think I looked it up. It was like over 3 billion views.
Yeah.
You know, there's like 9 billion people in the world. You got 3 billion views. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, do you ever think about that?
You know, I try not to.
Okay.
No, it's pretty wild. I was so young when.
How old were you when you did it?
I was so young. I might have been 20.
Okay.
I might have been 20.
What was that experience like?
Maybe. Oh my gosh. It was,
Well, that was
wild.
2017 is when it came out, right?
You would know.
I think so.
I
I
don't
think it's
know.
2017.
2017? No, absolutely
Never.
not.
Maybe not.
No. It came out in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
14. I think it's 14. Yeah, I remember now.
Like 2017? No, it's
Oh.
definitely over 10 years. That feels so gross to say that over 10 years ago. Ugh. It just makes me feel old.
No.
No, it was such a huge experience in my life and in my career.
Yeah. How did it come about?
So I had just done So You Think You Can Dance, the most recent season at the time. And during that time, I connected with choreographers Tabitha and Napoleon, widely known as Nappy Tabs. And
Ooh, I like that name. Nappy Tabs.
yeah, they're cool. They're the best. Who they eventually turned into my mentors. But, you know, I connected with them. We vibed, whatever. Season ended. I ended up doing a tour with them shortly after. It was called the Move Tour with Derek Huff and Julianne Huff. They were the choreographers on it. They hired me. And through that experience, I was the only other ballroom dancer on the cast. And so, you know, I got to play a collaborative role and, you know, choreograph little moments here and there because of my knowledge in ballroom.
On So You Think You Can Dance.
On this tour after.
Of So You Think You Can Dance. Or
of Derek and Julianne Huff.
Okay, got it.
And, you know, through that experience, I think they saw that I had an interest in choreography, that I was quick on my feet, and I was eager to just make it work.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Because once the tour wrapped, I was home visiting my family, and I got a call from her, and she was like, hey, you know, we have this project. We're not really sure what we want your involvement to be. It would be, you know, it's a partnering music video, and we'd love to, you know, bring you on to assist us as a choreographer. And for me, I was like, oh, wow, I've made it. Like, Nappy Tabs wants me to assist them, you know, because their ballroom is not their thing. They're very hip hop based, but they're incredible artists and people. And so I was so honored that they asked me to be part of this thing. And, you know, they're like, okay, so we're going to meet the artist backstage. He's doing Jimmy Kimmel next week. Can you be there? Yes, I can be there. Ed Sheeran.
Okay.
I didn't know it was Ed Sheeran at this time.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No.
Sick.
So I don't think so. It was a long time ago.
Sure.
Like, I don't think I knew.
We're remembering.
Yeah. But so we meet him backstage at Jimmy Kimmel. And like at that time, he had, I think, 1 or 2 albums out. He was very like singer-songwriter, not quite yet pop.
Yeah, that's
and
when
I knew of
felt,
him
that's
for
when,
sure.
That's when I like really felt. You know how you said Taylor Swift got you through your heartbreaks and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Ed Sheeran got through my heartbreaks.
Oh yeah, Give Me Love. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, his old music really like stung deep.
Like, what is it? X, the A-Team, and then honestly, the Divide album was really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is brilliant. A brilliant artist. Stellar human. So anyways, I meet him backstage. I'm like, oh my gosh, I fucking know this guy. I definitely know this guy. This is amazing. This is cool. And you know, the goal of that was for him to meet the choreographers and kind of express exactly what he wants out of this music video, because at this point, he had not appeared in a single one of his music videos.
Oh, wow.
He would make cameos.
Yeah, he would play with his guitar, right? Sometimes.
No. He would make cameos. So he wouldn't be the music video. He would maybe be in a scene or 2, or maybe he'd be in a drive-by, or maybe it'd be like a little puppeteer of him.
Sure.
But he wasn't really in the forefront of it. And so they were assuming he would just want to do like a chorus, whatever. And in the room, he was like, yeah, you know, I want to dance for the song. And they're like, yeah, like, how long do you want to dance? He's like, for the song. And she's like, you mean all 4 minutes? And he's like, yeah. And they're like, okay, cool.
Were you there during this conversation?
I was there during this conversation. And they were basically like, okay, well, this is Brittany. You know, let's just kind of like move around the room, see what you're like so we can create the piece. And like see if you can lift her and whatever. We get done and he's like, he sits down and he looks at me and he's like, so are you the girl? And they both kind of look at each other and they're like, yep. And I was like, okay, cool. So from there, you know, they asked me, who would you like to bring on to work with and partner with? Because we need to build this. Because basically, we want to create the piece here in Los Angeles, and we will send you and a partner on tour with Ed to teach him while he's on tour.
Wow.
Because he didn't have time.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It was wild.
So you went on tour with Ed Sheeran for a little bit?
So I went on tour with Ed Sheeran for about, I think it was 6 weeks of tour.
That's insane.
It was wild. It was.
How was that like?
I mean, it was insane. It was insane. I was like this little young girl doing like a full-blown tour with an artist and like not performing, but experiencing the tour.
Was that your first tour?
Well, I had done the Derek and Julianne Hough tour, but it's not.
But not with a big
small
artist.
Theaters.
Like you didn't do an artist.
These were arenas and the whole. I mean, people loved him.
Yeah.
Loved him. Yeah. So it was a very different experience. Not one better than the other, just very different.
Yeah.
And so we go out on tour with him. We teach him over the course of, I think, 6 weeks. And it was insane. At that point, I was still just trying to navigate my life and figure out experiences. And, you know, they'd sneak me into clubs and like be wild. Yeah. I had never experienced anything like that. Yeah. But over this tour, we actually stayed on the same bus as Ed.
Oh, wow.
It was so cool. It was me, my partner, Paul Carmerian, who I mentioned earlier.
So you got Paul on, he was your partner?
Yep. He was my partner. Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So technically we're the assistant choreographers on it and the performers as well. But so it was me, Paul Carmerian, Jenny and Jason Koenig, who they filmed the behind the scenes video of Thinking Out Loud. And
you were sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys were working hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's not easy. That is not easy. The average performance you'll see on TV is anywhere from 45 to 90 seconds. Yeah. It's 4.5 minutes is a long routine. Yeah. And especially for somebody who has never danced.
Yeah, how was teaching Ed Sheeran?
Dancing with me. Great.
Was it you personally, like mostly, or was Paul like trying to direct?
Oh, it was. We were so in tandem.
Okay.
Paul, it was definitely. We were both really. I mean, we wouldn't have done it without Paul. Mm-hmm. We both worked so hard to help him and instill confidence in him. Mm-hmm. That's really it. Learning to be confident in your body and like moving it and manipulating it and being connected to another person, that is a lot. It's a lot to process for somebody who's never, like, he was not a very, I don't think he like played sports or anything. Mm-hmm. So it was, once we got over a certain hump, then he was like, oh yeah, I can do that with my body, gaining confidence throughout the process. And that is really with anything, teaching anyone to learn anything new. It's about instilling confidence and encouraging them and not pushing them too hard where they're like, oh no, I don't want to do this.
Well, confidence is built, right, from doing something over and over again to where you get competent enough and then you're like, oh, I have the confidence to do that, right?
Yeah. So, it got to a point where, okay, we learned the routine. He can dance it from tip to tail. Great. Amazing. Let's take it a step further because we're performing and we're doing this thing. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up having a conversation where we were talking about the way he sings a song. Mm-hmm. If he were to sing a song the same level the whole time, no one would connect with it at all. right? What's special is the way you articulate your words, the way you strum or pluck or brush your guitar. They create different sounds and different intentions and different intensities and different emotions. And that's why people love your music so much. Now we have to do the same thing with dance.
Within this dance.
You know, because we can't dance everything at the same monotone level. We have to find out, where do we want to create tension? Where do we want to create resistance? Where do we want to create release and flow or intimacy or strength? And so
to portray emotion. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that was a big aha moment for him. He was like, oh,
It's a good
I
analogy.
understand.
You're like, I get it. You're talking about my guitar?
Yeah.
I get it.
That's my baby. I get it. It's like the back of his hand. But that was a huge, huge moment of like instilling confidence in him and making him excited about the performance. And we really worked so hard. We were working in corridors. We were working like on concrete, like behind the stage. We had no dance studios the whole time, which actually, you know, we didn't have any mirrors, which probably was
No
great.
mirrors.
No
mirrors.
No mirrors for him.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Because we were in a different place every single day.
Yeah. Was there a schedule for it? Or it was like, I have like 10 minutes right now. Like, let's try to get a couple moves out.
10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Let's run it twice. Okay, go to press.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Oh,
so at that point, you know, we finished the tour and we leave him basically. And we're like, we'll see you in 2 weeks and we'll shoot it in one day. One day. You get 1 day. That's all you get. And, you know.
Were you guys pretty confident at the end of the 6 weeks? Like, oh, he's got it.
He definitely had it for sure. We knew he could do it, but self-doubt had crept in.
Sure.
He's like, yeah, okay. You know, Paul, you should be on standby. And so, oh my gosh, this is so terrible. But on the day, Paul was like dressed as Ed.
Yeah.
They have very different builds.
Sure.
And like Paul is an Armenian man with very dark hair, dark complexion. And so they had to they gave him these like tights with tattoos on them to like make his arms look like his.
Oh, wow.
And like, oh my gosh. Luckily, he didn't have to step in.
Okay,
but
cool.
it is hilarious.
Wait, they actually try to make him look like Ed Sheeran?
Oh yeah, he had a full wig. They like powdered his face. They're like, your turn, step in, Paul. Because no one knew. I mean, especially when you're working with artists.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get what you get.
Yeah.
But he is not that way. And luckily he stuck it through because on the day he was really unsure, and I'm so proud of him. And I think, you know, he's a performer. Yeah. He's a great performer. I don't know if you've been able to see him in person. He's an amazing performer.
Yeah.
Wow. And so luckily he pulled through on the day, but it was so hot in that room we ran it so many times.
Where do you guys film it at?
We filmed it at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles.
In LA. Okay. That's crazy.
Yep. And the director of the film, his name is Emil Neva. He was amazing. He was incredible. We filmed on 16 millimeter film, which, you know, it's not common, especially at that time. And we had an amazing lighting director. He worked with the greats, Michael Jackson, you know, Cher, all these people. And so for this being my first music video experience, this was just so wild. One. Yeah.
Wow. You never danced on a music video or anything like that?
I maybe did like a Friends music video, like a little one, but not for any major artists.
Okay.
And so it was crazy. So anyways, job's done. Cool. That was awesome. Can't wait to see it. That was a very intense experience, I think, for everyone involved.
Sure.
And so we all kind of became a little family after that and kept in touch and whatever. And that's where I thought it would kind of just be like, cool.
We did the thing.
Yeah.
On to the next.
This was around the same time that Sia's first music video with Maddie Ziegler came out.
Okay.
They both released kind of at the same time, and they both just kind of blew up. And I just didn't really know what to do with that. I don't know. I kind of got a little embarrassed. I was like, what?
Embarrassed? Why were you
no,
embarrassed?
just a little shy of
Yeah.
like all this attention. And it was just surreal that the number of views just kept climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. At some point I just stopped looking because I was like, whoa, I don't even know how many people that is. What?
Yeah, that's a lot of eyes.
It's a lot of eyes. And it was just like kind of crazy, and I have to like pinch myself and remind myself that I did that and I accomplished that, and that's a part of my journey, and like sometimes people will recognize me, very rarely, but like every now and then people are like, are you the girl from the Ed Sheeran music video? And I'll be like, oh, yes, because I forget that half the world's seen it.
Yeah.
literally
Half the world, or 3/9 or whatever.
Well, yeah.
1/3.
Yeah. 1/3?
Yeah, 1/3.
Wait, how many people are in the world?
I think 9 billion.
No,
Is
I thought it was 7.
I think people are having more babies.
Okay, well, I haven't
We
looked.
could double check after.
I haven't looked in a while. I'm not gonna lie, but at that point, it was like 7.
Do you get? I guess in commercials and stuff, they're called. What is it called when you continue to get compensation for more residuals? Did you get residuals for a YouTube video?
No.
That would've been crazy.
So this is a very complicated subject because when this was happening, basically there was no choreographers union, or music videos are non-union jobs.
Okay, and you're union, I'm assuming.
I am union, but music videos don't fall under union.
Okay, so
I can still do music videos.
Music videos.
Yes. You can't. You as a union member, you can't work on non-union television shows, but music videos are for a different medium.
Okay, say that again. As a union member, you can't work on non-union TV shows. Okay.
Yes.
You're talking about SAG.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But so music videos are non-union projects, and there is no really regulation of that. At the time, monetization looked very, very different. Online presence, social media, monetizing your social media, whatever. What those contracts even looked like was such a different
12 years ago,
thing.
like it wasn't that much money in it, correct? Or wasn't as much?
No, not as, I think it might have just been starting to be, people started to monetize, whatever. Mind you, I think it's a Sony. I think he was with Sony at the time. So it's a Sony project. And there is definitely, like, they make money through making music videos for YouTube.
A lot now.
But at the time, there was like a bit of a guild of dancers and choreographers that kind of used my video as kind of like their
point.
Yeah, their point.
This is why we need rules and regulations because of someone like Brittany Cherry.
Exactly. They're like, she did X, Y, and Z roles. She put X, Y, and Z time. She's not just like somebody who's walking in the back of
She's getting X, Y, Z attention.
Yes, exactly. But she had a flat rate of X amount of dollars, which is not a lot.
Yeah.
For, whatever. But I was happy to take the job because it's a job, and I'm a firm believer in no job is too big or too small. And that ended up being a big job.
Sure.
So if I just had a penny.
For every million?
Just for every million. No, I'll take a penny per 1,000.
Per 1,000? That'd be a lot.
Just a penny per 1,000.
Yeah.
Is that a big ask?
Not a big ask.
Out of 3 point whatever billion?
Yeah. Is there rules and regulations for that nowadays? For dancers? Like,
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I think it's normally considered a flat rate. But if you're doing like a video for a project, like an advertisement for example, and it's just ran on social media, it's not for like a TV commercial, you get usage rights fees.
Yeah.
And they can re-up those usage rights fees, and that's how you get residuals. But those are union commercials.
Why do you think that dancers in general, I guess society or the world objectively cares less? Because if you look at an artist who sings a song at a concert, right? There's a ton of dancers. Those dancers had to learn the choreography. They had to make the choreography. Like, it's taxing on their body. Like, and it's hard work and it's appreciative. Like, it makes the show, you know? It's a huge part of the whole entire performance. But just to elevate this one artist who may not be good at dancing, who's really good at vocals, right? But the dancing might be just as important in the show, or if you watch music videos, they do express emotion as well, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the short answer is I have no clue why dancers and choreographers are so undervalued in terms of compensation. No clue. I don't know what that's about. Maybe because there's always someone younger and hungrier and happy to do it for free. It's very interesting because other artists have business managers and
like singers. You're talking about artists meaning singers as well?
Artists is singers or athletes or, you know, musicians or even stunt people or whatever. Even like media, like real gallery artist type people. They have teams and they have, you know, things that they expect. But dancers, I feel like they're so hungry for any opportunity, especially when we're so young. We're like, yeah, we'll do this for free. I'm going to work with you. And I am a proponent. Like, sometimes I do stuff for free, for sure. Because I'm like, do I either believe in the project
or the person?
And am I going to enjoy my time? If none of those boxes tick, then I'm not going to do it. But it's very interesting because I think as a dancer, I always thought, oh my gosh, you know, I've spent 20 years honing my craft, and like, we're in the studio for so many hours and we're using our bodies and we're sweating and we're bleeding and we're crying. Like, we are such an important part of this. But I also didn't understand the village of people that it takes behind the show. And the sad reality is that your dance moves, I am only talking from like a big vision perspective. This is not about concert art or pure artistry or anything. But the sad reality is that, you know, your dance moves don't exactly matter. Like that, what you do doesn't matter if you're doing the right elbow or the left elbow, like whatever you choose to do, but it's more about the overall picture that you are catering to. Yeah. And that includes screens, lighting, costume, music, how you're dealing with the artist, how you're dealing with the scene around you, you know, and all of those different departments have a sea of people behind them working through the night to execute it. And that's what dancers don't understand. So while we are absolutely worth our value, like undervalued, and we need to be paid more for sure because it hasn't appreciated, it's not you are not the most, there's no one department or group of people on a production that is the most important, except for maybe the artist, you know, or like the main
attraction.
Yeah, exactly. What the world is being built around, whether it's a scene or an artist or a product or whatever.
That makes sense because, like, for example, like the Super Bowl, right? Everyone was flipping out that no one was going to get paid originally.
Well, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it was insane. But like from what you just said, though, it would kind of make sense in the sense that you're getting all this attention from the world. Like, you should be happy that you're just doing it, like based on what they said, right? Not, but
it's balance, right?
Balance, yeah.
There's a huge difference between believing in a project and being like, no, you know what? I want to create with this person, or I want to give this person my time, or this project, though it's small and it has a tiny little budget, seems dope and I'm going to have a good time doing it. Okay, cool. Do that. That's a huge difference from a multi-billion different like dollar company taking advantage of someone.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know that they would still do it for free, even though they would hate doing it for free.
Totally.
Because of the
what's
cloud of doing
gross about that is that they should have been paid. That's gross.
They did get paid, no, did they?
Did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they got paid. They fought for it.
It shouldn't have even been. What's gross is that it was an issue.
It was a huge issue.
It shouldn't have been an issue at all. Actually, that's like wild.
Yeah.
Ew.
Ew. It's disgusting.
I hate that. Well, and now having been on the other side, I've been on high budget projects and I've been on low budget projects. Sorry. And sometimes you're like, I'm so sorry. This is all I can offer you. This is all that's in the budget. This is all production gave me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And that doesn't, I don't love having to ask my friends to do things for low rates.
What's the biggest like rate that you've ever heard of a dancer getting, and the lowest?
Well, free.
Free. Okay. That's lowest. Yeah, for sure. Like for a one night.
I heard of a choreographer, because choreographers are the only department heads who are not unionized in all of production. It's wild. And they've been fighting to be part of a union for 20 years now. But so choreographers have to set a day rate. And I did hear of a choreographer getting a $15,000 day rate.
That's crazy.
That's insane. I mean, good for this person.
Dancers,
I don't know. It just depends. Also with like Instagram and like influencer dancers, I have no clue.
Yeah, what have you heard of? You probably have some influencer dancing friends.
I do, but I don't know that I can speak to that.
Yeah.
I heard of a dancer getting like a $2 million deal for a Taco Bell collaboration.
Okay, that makes sense. So like I had a couple of food influencers on the podcast. And for doing a Taco Bell thing too, for one TikTok, it was like $60,000.
What? Taco Bell, hit me up. I am available. I will eat all the burritos and I will also shimmy at the same time.
I think that might be worth 70 right there.
At least. Come on.
Do you think social media is changing the game in terms of dancing?
Absolutely. I think it's changing the game for entertainment completely.
In a good way?
I think it's great that artists in any medium are able to take agency and provide opportunities for themselves and consistency, and kind of delete the middleman of, you know, agent or representation, or not feeling like you'll be seen or get those opportunities. Like, oh my gosh, the amount of artists that have forged their own ways is insane. Whereas like even 12 years ago, I don't know that they would have had those opportunities.
Yeah, because like depending on your relationship with the agent, to be like, oh, Brittany's
Where
going.
do you live? Yeah. Do you have the look? Do you have the audience? Whatever.
Yeah.
But like with social media, you're able to create your own audience based on what you want, because there's somebody out there who likes what you like. And that's really cool. That is very cool. I think that I'm like a huge believer in quality over quantity, for sure. I think there's so much like shitty art just being thrown out to get something out there. Personally, like just throwing stuff out there just for a like or for a view or whatever, but like the intention is just for that
like and view
validation or that it's transactional art basically. And I'm just saying this in a broad sense, but I don't know. I think it's a double-edged sword for sure. Yeah. Because it cheapens the art.
A little bit. And
this is not just about dance. Like,
everything.
Comedy.
There's so much to consume. You don't know what to pay your attention to.
For sure. Dancers. Yeah. People don't know, like, it's really cool that people are dancing and on their feet. Absolutely. But like the production value is so small, which is what draws people to. I don't know. It's like I've also done TikTok videos, so I'm not judging people, but there is a balance, and I think that, I don't know. I think it's just a double-edged sword.
Yeah. What do you gain from teaching? And then what is the benefits for continuously learning?
Well, teaching is something that I've had resistance to for like a really long time. I think when I was young, I was like, I didn't move out to Los Angeles to be a dance teacher, and so I really kind of avoided that for
like
a long
including
time.
classes. Yeah.
I didn't teach classes until 2017. I moved here in 2012.
But isn't it cool to like share what you know to people who don't know?
Totally. So what I was getting at is that I was kind of thrusted and forced into a teaching position, and I found so much fulfillment and validation by like empowering people and giving them knowledge, and through that I was like, you know what, it built my own confidence up, because I'm like, dang, I really know what I'm talking about. In the most humble way possible. But like when you are forced to teach someone something, it is really like a test of your true knowledge. And through that, I really gained a lot of confidence in teaching. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love making people feel good. People leave my class feeling so empowered. And that is so validating to me.
But you're also giving them so much joy in their improvements and their art.
Well, and like, I mean, learning anything and challenging yourself and pushing yourself to be uncomfortable is admirable. And the fact that these people want to do that with me is a huge compliment. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, thank you for
trusting,
giving me your time, giving me your energy, trusting me, but also trusting yourself and being vulnerable enough to not be good and fail and work on something. Because I think we live in a time where people fear failure or fear not being good at something. And, I have taught here in Los Angeles for many years now, and my classes were never huge, packed. And that's so fine. But the people that did choose to go there, I'm like, that's so brave, because there are so many dancers out there who are like, I want to learn so bad, blah, 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 blah. And they just get in their own way because it's fear-based. It's new, it's different.
Your style of dancing too is not common in the Los Angeles area.
It's not common for any dancers unless you're a ballroom dancer. Okay. It's its very own world. It's almost its own thing. It's very rarely interwoven into dancers who grew up doing ballet, jazz, hip hop, contemporary, the normal dance styles that you would see.
Have you seen like a hip hop dancer hop in your class and they're trying to figure it out and they're like, what the heck?
Totally. It's like, it's interesting. I guess like the common misconception is like, people would think, this is like a very weird way to describe this. Oh, no. Okay, it's like the difference between, I'm like, how do I want to go about this? It's like the difference between like Spain Spanish and Mexico Spanish.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah,
they're both Spanish, but they're different languages, different dialects, different, cultural differences, different slangs, whatever. That's the same. So while ballroom is still dance and while all the other styles are still dance, they're totally different sides of the world. And so I was so fortunate as a young dancer to be exposed to both and be at a dance studio where they offered both at a competitive level and provided opportunities like that. I really think there's only 4 dance studios in the country who offer that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And so it's not common that the two bleed into each other. Wow. But I'm always so happy to see dancers that are, have a hip hop background or ballet background or whatever, somebody who's never even danced before come into my class, because they really check their ego at the door, and they're like, I am here to learn.
Sure.
I'm here to learn, and they're down to work hard, and that's, I think, so I respect that.
How do you teach acting in like a choreography, for example, like the emotion of it,
Like the performance of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes back to our like the conversation with Ed. Like, if he were to sing a song monotone, no one would listen, right? So you can't dance. You can't perform that way. You can't perform with one emotion, right? Luckily, with dance, we have music as our driving force, and oftentimes the lyrics or the musicality or the, just the way the music is produced kind of is the backbone for our emotion. We may not be we may not be being literal with our movement, doing exactly what the singer is saying, but the emotion that the violins are playing and the, precision that the drums provide and the intensity kind of can help with that. And obviously driving the tone. But
I guess if there's a song that you're dancing to that's talking about a heartbreak, just go there. Like, are you thinking about a heartbreak? Are you thinking about like being sad in that moment? And then it gets happy, and then you're going to like a place in your life that it's very joyous. Like, do you think about that at all, or no?
I think it depends on the performer.
For you?
For me, I mean, yeah, once you know what the dance just the steps are. Once you know what the steps are, right? And then you dive deeper into the emotion behind it. What is the story? What is the creative? Like, there's an objective here that the choreographer and the director paint for you. You have the song, you have the lyrics, you have the lighting, you have the stage, you have the costume, you have the other elements of storytelling, whether that be another person or a chair or whatever. And these are tropes that you can pull from to access emotion, for sure. They set the tone. And once you're put in that place, you really just kind of go there. If you're dealing with heartbreak, I mean, as a young girl, I guess like you have an understanding of heartbreak. But for example, I think that artists in general, hold a lot of empathy. We're very emotional people, and there's a lot of empathy inside of us. And on So You Think You Can Dance, there was a piece about cancer. There was like a mom and a daughter, and the mom had cancer, and then the daughter didn't. This isn't these people's stories. And I did they experience this in their real life? I don't think so. And so it's their job to. This was a beautiful piece. I think it won an Emmy. It was incredible. But it's their job as dancers to access those emotions. So I think it comes from a place of empathy and understanding to be able to channel that kind of emotion. And you don't have to channel, it can be whatever it is for you. It doesn't have to be the literal story that maybe the audience perceives. But as long as you can access that emotion however you need to.
What's your feeling when you see the emotion come out from someone you're teaching, or the skill that you're trying to drill into this person's body, and they're just like, fuck, I can't get it, and then it hits. They hit the note, or they hit the move for that note, and they're expressing that emotion, and it's exactly how you choreographed it?
That's a great question. I think for me, because my students, it's so foreign to them. I am not pushing them. I'm not pushing the bounds of emotion with them. For my classes that I teach, I'm purely educating them on the technical aspects of the performance. And the only emotion that I try to pull out of them is confidence. if they feel confident, the rest is going to come.
What do you tell them to build that confidence?
I'm kind of mean.
Kind of mean.
I'm kind of a mean teacher.
What do you say?
No, like when I'm out on the road, right? I get 1 hour with a group of 300 children at the same time.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Wow.
It's a lot.
You're mean to these little girls?
I mean, kind of. I'm not going to be like, pat them on the back. They range from 5 to 18.
Okay.
So, obviously I gauge the room and I'm not going to yell at a 5-year-old. But, especially with the teens and seniors age range, I ask them, like, do you love to dance? Why do you love to dance? Are you grateful to be here? Why? Okay, well then why would you shortchange yourself and like take away from the opportunity to learn and grow by being shy or nervous or scared or insecure? We all have insecurities. So let's check it out at the door, and really just all I ask for is your full commitment and full confidence in yourself for the next 58 minutes. And, it's really interesting because after this hour-long class, you have, 15 minutes of talking with the students afterwards. And so many come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I was so scared to come in here. And, I feel so confident and so excited. And like, I want to learn so much more. And those small, tiny little interactions that I had like with a kid in Ohio, mean everything to me. Yeah. It's so fulfilling to spark inspiration and spark confidence and say, no, you stop being silly. You can do this. And you totally got this. Is so special.
How do you try to instill it for, I guess, after that workshop, after that dance convention? Because I like to think of it similar to, I don't know, maybe like a Tony Robbins seminar or a motivational speech. Everyone gets hyped up, right? They're like, yeah, I can do it. And then they go home and they don't do the thing.
Yeah.
Like how does one continue to be confident for after this 5-year-old girl, she goes home and her friends are like, no, you suck. Like, how does one in any aspect of their life, in your opinion, like continue to feel that way moving forward after some big, it could be life-changing moment at that time?
Yeah. I think for anyone at any age, the voice of self-doubt can be so loud for so many. But I think that if you have like a no care mentality of like what other people think of you, that's how you make change in your life.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like for anyone at any point overcoming any hurdle.
Yeah.
Like you start to care what other people think about you. You start to listen to that girl's like, oh my gosh, you're doing that. That's silly. Then you're not going to succeed.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to keep that fire alive other than just not caring. A little middle finger to the world.
I started thinking about this concept a lot. And it's kind of a trite thought. But at the end of the day, everyone dies, right? And you could either decide that they die in your headspace now. Like, they don't matter. We don't, like, at the end of the day, like, everyone's going to not remember us in, like, 10 generations from now, in 3 generations.
Totally.
Like, I don't know my great-great-great-great-great-grandpa. Do you? Like, no.
No. I didn't know I knew 2 great-grandmothers.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's sick. Mm-hmm. But, like, expand the time horizon long enough and just no one cares about anything you do.
Oh, yeah. It's insignificant.
So you might as well just do everything to your fullest potential or your fullest thought or X, Y, and Z.
I like that.
Full confidence.
I like that.
I've been thinking about that a lot because there's certain things that, I mean, I've had people on the podcast who are older, like in their 60s, 70s, and they're talking about their insecurities and stuff. I was like, oh, we don't change.
No, we don't change.
We don't change. Like, I hope I could solve some of these problems by that age, you know?
I just think that it shifts.
It shifts.
I think your insecurities shift.
Okay. Yeah, different people, right? Different things.
Yeah, I mean, my insecurities that I have now are not the same insecurities I had
when you were a little girl
5 years ago.
Yeah,
like that's how quickly they
Last
changed.
Year.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then obviously talk about when I was a little girl. I had no insecurities as I was a little girl. And, I think that is people who are childlike. Sometimes they can be annoying for sure. But I really
grow up.
Being adults. No, but childlike people in the way of like understanding what play is.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. I was like, I feel like a lot of creatives are playful, right? They get into a room and they just mess around. Like for working out, I feel like most of my clients stay with me for a long period of time because a lot of it's I gamify fitness. Like I'm like, hey, kick this 50-pound ball back and forth. Oh wait, my leg is really sore, but we're just kicking a ball back and forth. And you're like, whoa. And then I'll hear friends writing and they're just like putting a beat on and they're saying stupid words like cactus taco or whatever, and then they're just like having fun with it. And I think some of the most beautiful things come out of that.
Absolutely. If you can learn how to channel play, like really play, because
Like
think
kid
about
play.
when you're little and you like played pretend and how committed you were
To being this person.
being pretend.
Yeah. And
Like,
then
that's
fourth
a
grade comes
wild
around and
thing.
like, oh, you're not that.
You're playing cops and robbers. Ew.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, this idea of play is so lost on us as we grow old. And, obviously we acquire more responsibility and we understand we develop insecurities, whatever that is. But I do think when artists are in their space, they do channel that play. Some artists, I think they take themselves too seriously, but
Because they're trying to get somewhere, right? They're not doing the art for the art itself, right?
Yeah.
They're doing the art to achieve something based on that art.
yeah.
And by doing that, you might not even come close.
Totally. It's that like the idea of expectation of what this art will bring me,
Yeah.
and then you're not playing. And that's a hard balance to create when you have a career that is based on your art form.
Puts a lot of pressure
so
on it.
easily lost.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people who depend on art as their full-time income, and I feel like that is disrespectful to the art. Like I feel
It adds obviously
a lot of
pressure.
pressure.
And so then you're creating without inspiration and then your art isn't as authentic and then it's forced. Obviously, this isn't always the case.
Sure.
But yeah, especially for people who are like really artistic, I can imagine that's really difficult. Whereas me, I'm like, give me high pressure and give me a structure and I'll just make it happen.
Yeah.
But that's where I like.
I'll solve
that's
problems.
where I like to work.
Yeah.
I don't like to work with a blank canvas. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that learning how to keep playing is so important. And I mean, I need to take my own medicine. Like it's so easy to care about what people think.
In what areas of your life do you think you access that play?
That's a good question. I don't know. And it kind of goes back to what I said earlier, like this crave and desire to start dancing again. I think that's where I like to play. I think when I get to create and collaborate with other ballroom dancers, that's when I feel like I'm really at play. I assist a lot of the pros on Dancing with the Stars still in like, choreographing their routines pretty frequently. And so during those times, I really get to like channel that part of myself as well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still working on it.
Do you think it's necessary for dancers to move to Los Angeles to quote unquote make it?
No.
Not
anymore. Before COVID and before whatever, back in my day, you had to be here. Your agent would call you at 8 p.m. or send you an email at 8 p.m. for an 8 a.m. audition for Janet Jackson tour, whatever. And you'd run to FedEx in the morning and print a headshot and resume and you'd staple that shit together and you'd make it work.
Do you miss those days?
No.
No.
No,
She's like, I'm over it.
No, I don't miss that at all. I actually, all of my work in my career, I think I booked 2 jobs through my agent.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a lot.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's how you represent yourself and how you navigate your career is up to you. Mm-hmm. And your agent is there to support you. And sometimes they can offer opportunities for sure. Sometimes they can open doors. So absolutely.
What advice do you have to upcoming dancers who are not getting booked by their agents and they're depending on that as the only way to get booked? Like, what are the other avenues?
That's a great question. I get this. I have a lot of young dancers or choreographers who are wanting to, change lanes and pivot a little bit because they're like, I'm not working, blah, 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 my agent's blah, blah, blah. And I am such a strong proponent of like being an advocate for yourself. Mm. Like if you don't believe in yourself, who will? Mm-hmm. Your agent is not responsible for you in your life, for sure. They are there to support you and negotiate for you and sometimes open a door. Other than that, it is up to you. You are in control of your relationships. And that is how you navigate any career, is relationships. Who do you know? What is your rapport with them? Are you willing to work hard? Are you kind to work with? Are you communicative? These things are so lost on so many young dancers and artists in general, but dancers specifically, because they think they're entitled to the job. Oh, I'm so sad I'm not on that tour. Like, my agent didn't submit me. Whatever. Go take that. The choreographer who choreographed for that artist, go take their class. After the class, make sure you shake their hand or like give them a hug and thank them. Make eye contact so they see your face.
On the left side.
On the left side. DM them. Shoot them. Say, I took your class tonight. You were stellar. If you have any opportunities, you want an assistant, you want a skeleton crew, whatever that is, I'm happy to like work for free. I don't care. I want to work with you and I'm around. Whatever that is. I've done that so many times and that has really paved the way of my career. Being like, yo, I respect you. I see you. I want to learn from you. I want to grow from you. And honestly, that is how I landed to be where I am. Because people are not mind readers. People don't know what you want. Yeah. They might see you as a, only a podcaster. But unless you're like, yo, no, I actually do, training and X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah. I'd like for you to train me. Yeah. They won't know that unless you say that.
No, I totally agree with you. I think in my working life, most of my clients are from relationships.
Totally.
Right. And I would say I'm not the most scientifically knowledge-based trainer. I'm not the most jacked trainer. I'm not the biggest or fastest, but I have more clients than most trainers that I know in LA, and this one real estate agent came up to me one time. He actually was on the podcast and he was like, yo, people work with others who they like, who they know, and who they can trust. Yep. And they will choose someone they like, know, and trust over someone else who on paper looks a lot better, but they don't know. They might not like them, and therefore they don't even trust them because of the prior two. Yeah.
Yeah. I really think that like your vibe and how you carry. Yeah, your vibe.
A lot of people have been saying, but that lately as well, like actual like vibrations and stuff, like the energy that you give off.
Yeah, for sure. People feel that. They feel it in their soul, and they're like, or they're like, yeah.
There's like a little tickle, like, I don't like it.
A little tickle, I like it.
Yeah, it's a tickle. It's like, or it's like I don't know, maybe it's like a bad stomach ache. You're like, oh wait, I don't like that person.
No, I gotta get out of here.
I gotta get out of here.
No,
you want more? Are you good?
If you're gonna have more,
time it more.
But if I'm looking to hire a group of dancers, blah blah blah. There's a dancer. I'm not gonna say his name, but he is. He's a good dancer for sure. He's a good dancer. Is he amazing technically? No. But his vibes are immaculate. They're immaculate. Seriously, no.
Cheers,
Cheers.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
But no, you can guarantee that he will always work so hard. He will be so positive. He will be so encouraging. He's great with celebrity talent, and I can trust him to get the job done. Is he the best for the job? Maybe not.
Based on what you just said, yes.
Like being a technical
Not
dancer,
technical, yeah.
right? Like there's probably somebody who would do the dance moves better, sure, whatever. There's always going to be somebody better than you, always. But I would rather hire him over anybody else because he provides such a great workspace and great energy. And like at the end of the day, we're not saving lives. We're just playing. Like it's not that deep. I don't need anybody who's gonna like put a little poo-poo in the air. Like I don't need anyone like that in the space, especially when you're dealing with, actors or singers or whatever the person is. Like it really throws the mood. So you need those great people on set. And that for me is more important.
Yeah.
So
what does I guess entertainment do for you in terms of performing as well as consuming?
What does it do for me? I feel like it provides it's escapism, right? At the end of the day.
For which one?
Entertainment as a consumer.
As a consumer.
Yeah. I think it's escapism on one hand, but it's also a way to connect on another. So whether you need a little brain break and you're watching just something easy, or you're scrolling on your phone, or you're watching, that show that you're on the 8th season that you don't really know what's happening, but like it's on because it's just easy to watch and your mind just needs a little break.
Sure.
Right? Or you want to like fully escape and fully invest and like watch a movie or commit to a season, like a series or whatever. You immerse yourself in that story, in that world, and you're like, you become empathetic for the characters and your whole world erases. Right?
Harry Potter did that pretty good for a lot of people.
Oh my God.
Oh, are you a Harry Potter fan?
I am a Harry Potter fan. Of course I'm a Harry Potter fan.
What's up?
I read all the books.
I just read them during COVID, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I read 50 books during COVID because I didn't do anything. All my roommates moved out. I locked myself in my Santa Monica apartment. There was riots going on outside. All I did was write and read books.
Oh, wow. I'm so impressed with you.
Thank you.
I'm so impressed. What we did, we locked ourselves in our apartment and binge watched The Sopranos and had probably way too much wine and salami meats. So
that sounds pretty entertaining. That sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, best television show in the history of life. But
one of my clients directed, I think, season 3 of The Sopranos, but I feel bad.
What?
Huh?
That's amazing.
Yeah, but I haven't
Can I
watched
be their friend?
I haven't. Yeah, well, I'll introduce you for sure. I have not watched The Sopranos yet, though, so I feel bad. I was like, I can't really relate.
We just watched it for the second time. It's a commitment.
It's good though.
Oh,
it's worth it. It's worth my time.
Yeah.
I've only watched one TV show since October. It's Shogun.
Okay, you're a way better human than I am.
I don't think I'm better. I just think I don't have time.
Because you're reading.
I haven't read a lot. This is 2020. I read a lot. I probably read 3 books in the last.
I think I've read
year.
a book. I don't think I've actually read a book. I mean, at least 7 years.
At least 7 years.
No. You know what? I reread The 4 Agreements, but that's
It's a
like
good book.
70 pages.
Yeah, but that book could like switch your whole perspective on life in a day.
Yeah. Actually, I had this hilarious conversation with my husband a couple weeks ago because I travel a lot and sometimes I see a book at the airport and I'm like, I'm going to buy this book.
Yeah. And you never read
So
it.
I have a little pile of books that I don't read. But you know what? Okay, this is the issue. Is I have this self-diagnosed condition.
Which is?
It's called cinematic narcolepsy.
But you self-diagnosed yourself with it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a real condition. I've never heard of it before, but like.
Oh, so you made it up.
I made it up.
Okay. What is it?
It's my condition that I have. And it's anytime I'm either watching a TV show or I'm reading a book, I will fall asleep within 10 minutes.
Maybe you're just tired.
No. I can be, no, it's not that. I can guarantee you it's not that. I can have like a whole, coffee and go to a matinee movie theater.
Yeah.
And I will still doze off.
Matinee sounds so sexy when it comes to movie theater. When I like versus like, I'm going to a matinee versus like I'm going to movies. Like it sounds so nice.
What is the evening called?
I don't know. I should know this too.
I don't know. I think it's an evening show.
I don't think I've been in the movies since October, November as well. You go to the movies a lot?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
My husband loves going to the movies. That's like a thing that he likes to do for himself even, you know. But I definitely did like the whole Barbie thing and the Oppenheimer thing.
I mean, those won a ton of awards, right?
Yeah. What did we see? We saw a movie a couple months ago. I can't remember, but I did stay awake.
Yeah. What about for entertainment for presenting it, producing it?
So on the other side of that, well, there's two things. Like performing and producing are very different.
My apologies. I meant performing.
But as a performer, I think it just makes you feel alive, and that like there's
on
such
stage.
an
What's that feeling
egocentric thing as a performer, right?
Like on stage, like all these people, like what's that feeling like? I haven't experienced that very often. Maybe I think once or twice in my life.
Yeah.
But like, because you were in a lot.
I think that it's kind of like the culmination of all your emotions and like the pinnacle moment of your hard work. Right.
Like, could you describe it? Is it joy? Is it?
Yeah, I think it can feel like joy. It can feel like relief. It can feel like satisfaction.
Okay.
It can feel like, I think it can feel a bunch of different ways depending on the journey getting there. You know, you can work on a super, super taxing project, emotionally taxing project, and finally perform this piece, and it's like a release and like a exhale. We did it. That was so hard, but we did it physically, emotionally.
That is relief, but satisfaction.
Yeah.
What are the lessons that dance has taught you?
Ooh,
life lessons.
I had this coach. Well, he's like my coach. He basically raised me. His name is Rick Robinson.
Shout out Rick.
Yeah, Slick Rick.
Slick Rick.
Slick Rick. He is legendary. He's amazing. He has taught any and every single person that has come out of Utah as a ballroom dancer. And just salt of the earth human being. But he really instilled so much confidence in me as a young girl. And, we would do a lot of private sessions with me and my partner and him because he was my ballroom teacher. And through this, we would, learn new choreography or whatever. And at some point I would be like, oh, can I do it this way? Or can we do this? Or what about that? And he would respond with, can you? That's all he would say. And I would be like, okay, I guess I can. Because he gave me the confidence of not asking permission of creativity.
Because I feel like so many people do. They're looking for someone to say like,
validation.
You could do it, dude. Come on, let's go.
Totally. And he would just respond with, can you? And then he would raise his eyebrow and cackle. His laugh is iconic. But that was huge for me. And like whenever a roadblock would come, that's really what comes into my mind is, can I do this? Absolutely. And
give yourself permission.
Yeah, for sure. Permission for creativity, permission to take a chance, permission to do the unknown. You know, it's okay not to know if it's going to work. You just do it. Can you do it? Do it until you can't. Okay, now I know I can't do it. But you tried. That was a huge one. And he would also say something. He would use like the acronym KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
And that was great, just to like not overcomplicate things. Yeah. But I think just as a whole, the lessons that dance has taught me, and I'm sure other dancers feel the same, just, you know, perseverance and dedication and commitment and strength and confidence and, you know, everything that comes with learning how to manipulate your body and take chances on your body, like any athlete. But then on the flip side, the creativity and instilling, you know, confidence in your emotion and confidence in your thought process and confidence in your choices and how you make your choices as a dancer.
I've been thinking about this concept a lot. It's push or pivot. And so like there comes like a roadblock in your life. It's where you're like, if I push through, it's going to be good. Like it's going to be good. And then you keep thinking about it and you keep pushing and you keep pushing. And you're like, oh, do I keep pushing or do I pivot to something else?
Ooh.
Like, and I guess for you, like when you hit those roadblocks, like how do you know when to push and how do you know when to pivot?
Ooh, I just got goosebumps. That's really good. That was really good. Push or pivot. I'm going to have to like put that one in my pocket.
You'd steal it. It's yours.
That's a good one. In terms of creativity, I think I'm a very matter-of-fact person.
Meaning?
Like the people that I choose to collaborate with know that I can be... I'm very collaborative, absolutely. But at some point when we're pushing, I'm going to make the choice to be like, no, let's move on.
Like pivot to something else.
Yeah, let's pivot. We're done pushing.
Yeah.
That was a really good idea. We're going to pivot. Okay. And so...
how do you know when that, like, what's your inkling? What's your feeling?
I think when we're trying to force something and we spend, you know, more than 30 minutes on it, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
This is going nowhere.
Yeah, we're not going to... Or it's not even about pivoting. Sometimes it's about just like, all right, maybe we're done for the day.
Like, let it marinate.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to create anything good tonight. Our brains are fried. Tensions are high. Let's just take a little siesta and we'll come back to this tomorrow. And sometimes that is exactly what you need. But what creates that? I think it's like when you're feeling, it's like a pressure cooker. When you feel like pressures are like getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And I feel like the person that I'm collaborating with is like getting more and more frustrated, or maybe I'm getting more frustrated. I'm like, all right, we either need to pivot or stop.
Same thing in like life, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're feeling so much tension in this decision, it's probably the right move to pivot, not to go through, because like you're going to still feel that pressure if you push through. You're going to still feel that same feelings.
Yeah. But there's a difference between like giving up on like something that could be good too. You know?
It's like you also could like push so far to where you're like, I know this isn't going to work.
Totally. Well, I feel like it goes back to what my coach used to tell me, like, can you do this? And once you run out of ideas and you're trying to be like, what if I do this instead? I'm like, well, then we should pivot.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're like, well, what if we did this? And, can we do that instead? And if you're feeling inspired, like, yes, let's try all of these options. Okay, cool. Let's keep pushing. But if we're reaching a point where we're stretching and reaching just to like make something happen and we have the luxury of time, let's take a beat. Let's pivot. Let's pivot perspective. Let's take a moment. Let's come back and find a proper solution. Yeah.
I like that. What are you most excited for in your life right now? You're at this space where you've kind of like done the dancing thing. You've got a career on behind the scenes. Like you're built all these great relationships. Like what's next for Brittany Cherry?
I I have no clue.
No clue?
I have no clue. You know, I'm actually at kind of a interesting moment in my life right now, because like I still feel like I can dance at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like I can choreograph at a high level. I still feel like I can produce at a high level.
You got all these superpowers now, and you're.
I mean, not that I'm amazing, but I feel confident. I feel confident in those abilities. And one day I'm not going to be able to dance. And so like I'm, excuse me.
No, you're good.
Reaching a point where I would be happy to still explore those things, because I haven't for a while.
You bring that up a lot, especially when you talk about other dancers. You're like, you're not gonna be able to dance forever, and you put that perspective in a lot of dancers' head as well.
Yeah, dancers and athletes, like it's so precious. Our bodies are so precious, and not to say you can't do things into your old age. Like there are many amazing examples out there, especially in the fitness realm. Like there's definitely, you know, elderly men and women who are very active. But you're not going to perform at the same level that you do now. So, you know, I feel like I can still do that. That being said, I'm also like at the precipice of like wanting to start family planning, and what does that look like? And do I want to freelance? And do I like, you know, and so it's very like up, all of it's just like up in the air. And at this point, I'm just kind of like being open to anything and everything that comes my way. Like I said earlier, there's no job too big or too small for me. I'm happy to be collaborative and like learn from people new and push myself in different ways. And
is there any other aspects of like the dance world or entertainment world or the industry that you feel like you want to tap in or have always wanted to tap in?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I feel like I'm just starting.
Really?
Like I feel like
what else you want? What you want to get into?
Funny when people like I don't know. I don't love when people are like, "Oh my gosh, you're killing it." Like, how can I do? I'm like, perspective is so funny when people have a certain perception of you and what you're doing and what you've accomplished, and then you have your own idea of what you've accomplished or what you haven't accomplished or what you want to accomplish, or you know how busy you may feel.
Well, the thing is, like, you've already achieved the thing that they want. Like, there's this one quote that I say all the time now, but it's desires of the contract you make to yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. So everyone desires the contract you make to yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. So like you're really unhappy. They're unhappy because they haven't achieved this thing. And then they achieve it and they're like, oh, that's cool. Like whatever. Right? That's how you feel about like what they think of you because you already achieved it. And then you have this other desire that you want. And then you're going to be unhappy until you get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have a desire. Like, I don't even know if I have this like thing. I'm like, I don't even have a contract. I just know that I want to do more. I do think that ultimately I want to get into more storytelling. So far, I've been very heavily involved in like the broader performance realm, like, you know, for stage, not so much storytelling. And I want to do
well, in a
more
way,
of that.
it's a short story.
Yes, but like cinematic. It's not cinematic.
Okay.
It's more.
You talk about movies.
Yeah, movies, film, TV. But I also have another kind of dream of maybe getting into multicam directing, which there's not many females in that field.
That'd be cool.
And that's been my whole experience is multicam TV, and unscripted performance-based TV. So I think those are the two things that I have interest at this moment. As I mentioned, I do feel like I want to dance more, and I'm trying to put myself out there more. It's definitely like, you know, you get older and you get in your head a little bit about it.
Comfortable too, though, right?
Yeah, comfortable, but also like don't want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like
it's
can my body do it anymore?
It's like
I don't know.
Too comfortable. I mean, you're not forced to do it. Like back then, you're like, I need to do it for a paycheck, or I need to do it because I haven't done it before. And then again, you've done the thing. You know what it feels like. Well, now I have
the luxury of choosing when to do it, which is so special. And
but it makes it harder to actually do the thing because you have the luxury to do it whenever you want. But one day you won't have the luxury to do it because you won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that for you? Is that just fitness in general?
Right now, for me, I'm just excited to do cool things. Like at the end of the day, I think my definition of happiness is doing what I want to do when I want to do it with the people who I want to do it with.
Mm-hmm.
And right now it's fitness. Right now it's podcasting. It's doing this with you. It's building things. It's like just creating whatever I want to do, and hopefully that provides myself with like money, provides me with time with great people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's because we're social humans, or we're social creatures, right? Like I envy the days that I don't envy it. Sorry, I dread the days that I had to work with people that I didn't want to work with. Like I would bartend with people who I didn't like. I would have customers who I didn't like every single day. I get to talk to people who I love to talk with. I get to work with clients, personal trainers, who I extremely love. There's not one person every single day that I work with who I don't like.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm living the dream. That's really it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I like that. That's a good, you seem like you have a pretty clear definition of like what happiness is.
I feel like you have to think about it. I feel like so many people go through life not defining the things that are most important.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is happiness to you? You know, like
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah. I think it changes as you grow. I think the definition of happiness is different at different points in your life.
Yeah. For me in college, it was like to date around and get good at grades and be jacked. Like, you know, it's like, that's the life. That's the life. Have dudes that like you. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I think for me right now, it's like in one simple word, it's balance.
Balance in what way?
I was so career centric, focused for so long, and I compromised my life for my career oftentimes. And I don't regret anything. Absolutely not. Like I love my journey and I'm very grateful for where it's brought me. But there were definitely times in my life where I put career over everything, everything. And I really think, you know, COVID and the past 4 years really shifted my focus on like, that's not everything.
Yeah.
And it's not just about you and your career. Like, how do you spend your time at night? Who do you come home to? What does that look like for you?
Yeah.
And for me, it's, you know, I had the like stark juxtaposition of not working at all. Whereas, you know, the year before COVID, I was working, I was away for 8 months out of the year.
That's crazy.
It was insane. So, you know, to go from a pretty high career high year to nothing, where like I identified my worth with
That's who
my
you were.
career.
Yeah.
To nothing. It was a big, big, big change. And so re-identifying what happiness was for me was very important. That being said, I know that in order to be happy, I need to work. I feel value and I feel confident and I feel, I mean, I get that play at work and I need that.
Problem solving.
Yeah,
Right? I
for
feel
sure.
like I feel like you love problem solving.
I love a good problem. Give me a problem, I'll solve it.
Yeah.
Or
And then it's
at least I'll give you options.
well,
You
the
can
thing
choose
is when
to
you
solve it or
solve it,
not.
you get that relief. You get that satisfaction. You get a little dopamine hit like, hey, I did that thing. Yeah. You know?
Killed
But
it.
back to balance, do you know who Tim Grover is?
Tim who?
Grover.
Maybe.
He was Michael Jordan's fitness coach.
Okay.
And he says that to achieve greatness, people who achieve great things live lives for certain seasons extremely unbalanced to be great at whatever they're great at.
Yeah, they like are obsessed.
Yeah, it's like it's a requirement to be great at the thing. Like, so you could achieve balance after for sure, but to actually become great at the craft, to be an amazing at your job, to be career focused, there's going to be seasons of unbalance.
Yeah.
There's going to be seasons of like not enough sleep, not seeing your loved ones as much, not seeing your dogs as much, you know?
Totally.
8 months out of the year, that's a long time.
That was a crazy year.
Yeah.
That was a crazy year. Oh my gosh.
Why LA? Why stay in LA? You just said that it's not necessary for, well, you're gone 8 months out of the year on some
Not
years.
anymore. Not anymore. That was a while ago.
What do you like about LA? Why are you still here?
That's a great question. You know what? I got one foot out the door at the moment. You really? Yeah. I mean, not to say that I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
But
that was a pretty confident 1 foot out the door. You only have 2, so that's like 50%.
I got a toe out the door.
Toe,
like
okay.
my big toe. It's a big toe.
Big toe.
Yeah.
Okay. Still got 9 toes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you not have 10?
I don't have 10 toes. No.
You don't?
Nope.
What do you have?
Got 1 ear and 7 toes.
You have 7 toes?
Yep.
Are you serious?
No.
So you have 10 toes?
I have 10 toes.
Okay. Hey, I've met a couple people with like 8 or 9 toes. I was about to be empathetic.
I was about to bring my foot up here on the table next to my glass of wine.
And then be psych. You're like, JK, I got 10, guys.
I got 10. No one fear. It'll be okay. If you have not 10 toes, then you're cooler than me.
Yeah. You're special.
No, LA is so special to me. It's where I forged my most meaningful friendships and such a huge chapter of my life. And this is home. This is the only home I have. My parents moved away from my hometown, and like this is it. This is it. Yeah. This is my life. And I'm so incredibly fortunate to have made amazing friendships here. This is a hard city to make real friends.
Yeah.
And
why do you say that?
Well, I think it's like the land of the hustlers. Mm-hmm. Everybody's out here for themselves and for their dream and for their creativity or for their art or for that satisfaction, however you want to look at it, for that return on their investment, whatever. And so you get a lot of people that are not real. They may have good intentions in the moment, but like won't follow through. Or you might have a meaningful interaction with them, but that's as far as the interaction goes. Mm-hmm. And I think you can say that probably about any major city because it's fast and furious and people are moving, and it's hard when the city is so buzzing to really find someone to sink your teeth in. And I've been so fortunate. I made amazing friendships when I was 19, and I'm lucky to call them close friends still today. Like, wow. We created a really nice hub for each other. We have a little circle of friends, and obviously that's grown and shifted and changed over the years for sure.
What are the characteristics of a good friend to you?
I think a good friend allows you to be you without expectation of anything else. They allow you to be you in your own right, and they support you in your highs, and they help you in your lows, and they call you out when you need a little slap in the face. But also they aren't critical of you. They accept you. I think friendship is about acceptance ultimately. But also friendship is about reciprocation. Like if you're going to give what you get. So if you give me a topical version of yourself, that's what you're going to get from me. Or, it's all about effort, really. And sometimes one side of the friendship gives more effort than the other, and it ebbs and flows. And it depends on the emotional bandwidth of the friendship or any relationship that you're able to give your friend or your partner or whoever you're having this relationship with.
Is that why you think your friendships have lasted so long, the ones that you currently still have today?
I think the friendships that I have had over the past 10 plus years have been the most honest ones, the ones who have voiced when they're upset because you hurt my feelings when you did this or whatever. The people that are like able to like be honest and trust that you're not going to judge them and that you will accept their feelings and have a healthy communication about it. And I think that's with any relationship. It goes down to like trust and acceptance. Yeah. Because you don't always have to agree.
But I can accept you for who you are.
I can accept your feelings. I'm sorry those are your feelings, and I'm sorry you felt that way. But I accept them, and I trust that like you'll keep it real with me next time I make you feel that way. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But my mother-in-law has this amazing thing. And she says there's people in your life, friends, and they're either reasons, seasons, or lifers. And some people are put in your life for a reason. Some people are put in your life for a season. And some, your wagon is hitched to theirs. Absolutely. But, I do think that we are arriving in a time where you don't need to live here in order to be successful in entertainment because of social media.
Yeah.
And that's amazing because let's be real, Los Angeles is a hard place to live.
For sure.
It's real hard.
It's expensive.
And it's expensive. Quality of life is like probably medium.
It could be great depending on like
if you live by the beach.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you could drive there. It's not that far.
No. No. I need to wake up and my feet need to from the bed into sand. That's
so? Do you love the beach that much?
I love the water.
Okay.
I love being near water. I don't need to be in the ocean.
Well, you could be a lot of places near water.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just want to be near water.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you like? Really? Why?
Oh, I love water.
Okay.
I'm not a water sign. Don't ask.
What does it do for you?
I think that people who live near a body of water are so calm. I think it's such a, this is a little woo-woo.
Okay.
But I think the energy that water provides is so calming.
Just the sound. I sleep so good to rain. You probably can't hear it.
Yeah, no, I can't hear it. No, I can't hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, I was like,
I'm so sorry. Honestly, it's one of my favorite sounds.
Well, that's one of my best qualities is not hearing. So that's fine.
There you go. Oh, dang. Touche.
No, but I don't know. I just think that people who live near a body of water, there is a certain energy about them that feels so relaxed and feels so at ease. And think about it. I saw this thing on Instagram. Oh, shoot. I'm going to mess it up.
Try your best.
Oh, no, I'm going to mess it up. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Try your best.
But basically, it was like a video of water at the ocean. And it basically is there's a scientific word for what your brain does while looking at a body of water. And I think it was drifting or something. Okay. And it allows your mind to release anything in that moment, just in that moment. Release anything, and it just allows you to watch. And it's a spectacle. Think about what other times in your life do you watch just to watch? Because you're really watching nothing. It's just the water's not going anywhere. You're just looking, you're admiring. Whereas when you're watching TV or a movie, you're thinking, you're processing, you're engaging, you're reacting.
Yeah.
But when you're watching a body of water, you're just drifting in your mind. And I think it's probably similar to meditating for those who don't know how to meditate, like me. I mean, I can think about, oh yeah, I would like to meditate, but I have not mastered that skill. But yeah, I don't know.
My friend's dad, when I was, I think, around the age of 14, he was talking about how much he loved the ocean, and he used to write poetry about the ocean. And he would, I don't know the exact words, but he said something along the line the ocean is like life in the sense of there's these waves that go up, it touches the surface, and then it goes back down, and it just goes into this big body of water. And that's similar to your life. You're only here for a second. You're just here for that spectacle, that peak of the wave, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that's deep at 14. I was like, oh, I'm thinking about girls right now, bro. Not life and death.
Whoa, you're too deep, Jeff. Too deep.
Too deep. His name was Andy.
Oh, Andy.
Oh, Andy.
Oh, Andy.
What do you call it? Go ahead.
No, what?
I was going to say, what's Brittany Cherry's fitness routine now?
Ooh.
Including, obviously no meditating in there, but I guess, health routine.
Yeah. You know what? I recently did a little bit of a pivot.
Okay.
Because I was pushing too hard.
Oh, we got it. It's in the pocket.
Yeah.
It's in the pocket.
No, I was, So for context, Nate and I met at F45. I was religiously going to F45 daily.
You killed it. Brittany was
sometimes 2 days.
When you and Bri did 2 days, like it was impressive.
Well,
and
we were Operation Wedding Bod.
Yeah. So when Brian was on the podcast, I asked him what he was most excited for, and he was like, at the time it was the wedding. So it's like, I'm so excited to get married.
Oh, he's so cute. He's the best. No, so that was, almost a year and a half ago we got married. So, but during this time I was religiously going to F45. I was like, I am going to be a hot wife.
Yeah.
So I was very dedicated.
Hot wife.
Hot
you
wife
achieved
goals. Thank you. But, so I pivoted from F45. I started going to the gym. I started weightlifting. And I just felt like I was getting really stagnant. Like I felt like I wasn't reaching my goals in terms of like leaning out. And I felt like I was just staying in the same place. Although strong, I felt very strong. I was just like, and I was spending 2 hours in the gym a day, like too much.
Let's go.
I was doing too much. Like
it's
an issue when everyone at the gym is like, yep, she's here again. She's here.
That's not an issue.
No, it's too much. I don't need to dedicate 2 hours of my walking life a day.
If it gives you a lot of benefit, that's cool.
It wasn't.
Like, no, okay.
No, I don't need to do all that. But I pivoted and I started running. I do about,
Brian got you on the marathon yet?
Absolutely not. I am not psychotic. I will not be running a marathon. I will run a half marathon, maybe.
Do it. You got it.
Maybe.
One foot after the other.
Maybe. I've built myself up to 4 miles, and I was doing that like once or twice a week.
Okay.
And I'm getting back into Pilates, which I really love. Pilates. Nice. That's my favorite. And you want to get shredded, boys, ladies, Pilates.
Pilates, is it?
Yeah. It really gets you. It's those like small twitch muscles that like just kill you.
Yeah, I've taken one and I was like, why is my glute twitching, bro?
Yeah, for the whole day.
Yeah.
It's like so intense. But I love it and it feels lengthening to me. Whereas like lifting, it feels like crunching.
Yeah, you're tightening all your muscles.
Whereas lengthening is more like dance.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
So I did that, hikes, whatever, and then I'll lift like 2 to 3 times a week.
That's it. And then what about like full health wise, like diet? What about like obvious, like is watching the ocean your form of meditation? Like what keeps the peace of mind?
Oh, well, okay. I'm going to start with like nutrition and food first. So I recently went to like a dietitian nutritional place.
Okay.
And I do like weekly weigh-ins to understand like my body fat. So I was just like, I don't feel good. This does not come from a place of like, I want to look a certain way.
Sure.
Because I'm a petite person, but didn't feel great. I'm a petite person. I'm really strong. I'm very active, but was feeling like garbage. And so I went there and basically we did my metrics, blah, blah, blah. And through
body spec? Was it the ones that you hold like
in
this?
body?
In body?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Same thing. So
oh yeah, that's right. You got
right?
It.
They're
Yeah.
the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And basically I went like she was like, okay, well, what I want you to do is do a full body cleanse. And here I'm thinking like, juice, yay. I would love that. Because I had just had food poisoning from bad chicken the weekend before.
Like juice, yes.
I'm like, this is what I need. This is great. No, she wanted me to do a keto cleanse, which I was unprepared for.
Did you do it?
I did it. It was only 2 days.
Okay.
She just wanted me to like reach ketosis.
Yeah, it's hard the first time you do it though.
Oh my gosh. Especially if I'm like not really a mega meat eater.
Person. Yeah.
Like I'll enjoy meat, but like I also really like vegetables.
Yeah.
And
you shred up. Did you shred up?
Well, it really like affected me. I was like, whoa.
In a good way or bad way?
In a good way.
Yeah.
So
what were your results?
So I did the ketosis for 2 days, and then she's like, okay, these are the certain things that you can add back into, and basically we cut out all carbs, oats, anything of the nature like that, rices, everything, and then I also can cut out all dairy. And I did that for about 4 weeks. And over the 4 weeks, I lost like 6 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And like,
That's a lot in 4 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I technically only lost 4 pounds, but like my body fat ratio
Went down.
Yeah, exactly.
In 4 weeks.
Yep.
That's a lot.
And so I went to Vegas for my best friend's bachelorette
Brittany was
party. I was feeling like a snack, but we had like a little
Fun size.
like pizza party, and I planned the pizza party. It's my own doing, whatever. I've never had such a visceral reaction to food before, and my body was like, nope.
Oh, really?
Nope, we don't like this. Keep this away from me.
Really?
No, it honestly has like changed everything for me. I'm feeling so much better. I mean, granted, I had a burger a couple nights ago and I immediately regretted it. Did it taste amazing? Yes.
Yeah, it always tastes good going down. What are you talking about?
It's so good. I love burgers.
Yeah.
I just can't have the bun and I can't have the cheese.
Once in a while.
Sad.
Once in a while?
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
See, I did it and I was like calculated risk. I'm going to feel like shit in the morning, but it's totally worth it.
It's worth it if... Do you smoke weed at all?
Every now and then.
Every now and then. It tastes really good when you're high.
Well, yeah, of course. Of course. I'm not really like a... Yeah, no. It's very rare.
I just started working out, like runs. Running high is like the move for me.
Oh, yeah. Brian, I mean, not so much anymore, but he used to smoke a lot. And he would like...
Before runs?
Oh, yeah. Or before yoga.
Before yoga.
Before
Before hot yoga?
Oh, yeah. Before hot yoga. He'd call it stoga.
Stoga?
Yeah.
I'm stealing that. I'm putting that in my pocket.
It's yours.
I'll take it.
Yeah, he calls it stoga. I could not do that. That's not... No.
It's not the move. And then what about any like mental practices?
Yeah. Again, I mentioned at the beginning of this that I'm a psycho.
Why do you say that? You keep saying that.
Because I'm a psycho. Because the way I meditate, like last night, for example, I was feeling a little stressed and like my husband's out of town. I was like, I just need to like relax. Yeah. And what do? I reorganize my entire bathroom.
That's awesome. Cool.
But like, that's not a normal meditation for people.
I feel like it is. I feel like a lot of people get satisfaction and relief from solving problems. And that's a problem that you had and you wanted to solve.
It wasn't a problem. It was like pretty organized.
Like, nah.
I just like clean everything out. I'm like scrubbing out. It just makes me feel good when my home is like in a good place, when my things are in order, when like nothing's on the countertops.
Yeah. I mean, it's a representation of your mind, right?
Yeah.
Like anytime I have something stressful, like I always clean first. And I don't know if it's just procrastination, but I feel like once everything's clean, tidy, and organized, I'm like, okay, now I could do the work.
Yeah, like your brain is chaotic, so you need to organize it first, and then you can work.
Yeah. Like, what's your work process like? Like, how do you organize things? Like, do you have to do certain things in a certain way to achieve the goal at hand, or do you just go straight to the work?
I think that doing the things is part of doing the work.
Can be. But like cleaning my house before I edit a podcast it's not part of the work.
No, it's not part of the work.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But if you clean your workstation.
Sure. It's still not part of the work.
No, it is.
Why? Like
because you're not going to be good at your job if like your workstation isn't.
Or I could learn to like ignore it and focus.
Well, it depends on if that's what you need to do.
Well, I think that's the thing for most people. Like, I feel like if everyone could ignore the things that they say they should do for themselves to be prepared for the thing, like the thing would get done quicker. And that's the end goal. Because
if I don't do the thing that I need to do before I do the work, then I'm not going to work as efficient.
I know you could. I'm saying like if we could unlearn that habit, like ideally that would be the most efficient.
But would your work be as good if you unlearned the habit?
Don't know.
Mine wouldn't.
Yours wouldn't? You're like, I gotta do it.
No, I hate feeling chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel distracted. I'm not going to be able to give you my full creativity or my full...
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be like, oh my gosh, my closet is a mess.
You must have the most perfect closet.
I mean, it's not perfect.
To most people, it probably is.
You know what it is? It's actually not really like my closets, but like if my countertops are not, like if I see mess.
You'll go crazy.
Yeah. I can stuff the mess. You know, and
You
Brian.
put it in the closet?
Yeah. When Brian and I first started dating, I lived in this apartment in Hollywood. And I was, oh my gosh, chaotic. Clothes everywhere. But every night, I would just throw the clothes. I had a little walk-in closet, and I'd throw all my clothes in the closet and shut it. And I'm like, oh.
So much better.
Perfect.
Yeah.
This is great.
It wasn't the monsters in the closet. It was the clothes.
It's always the clothes.
It's always the clothes.
It's always the clothes.
Do you have a lot of clothes? I feel like you have a lot of clothes.
No? I have like a good moderate amount of clothes for a woman, I think.
Yeah.
I have good staples. I also don't like leave my house all the time. So like I don't shop.
Yeah, you just move from place to place. You're like living out of a. I always, for people who tour, but before we close out, I want to talk to you about traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how is living out of a suitcase? Like, what's that like?
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, you know, there's a few things, right? So I have been so fortunate to see so many different corners of the world through my career. That is like number one, gratitude. So grateful for that. It's unmatched, the experiences that traveling has brought into my life. But living out of a suitcase, I mean, you just get used to it. You know, I have like my little building blocks, my little like cubes.
That
and
you
I have
like
my
zip up
things
and
that
put
I
it in.
need. Yeah, for sure. And you start the trip out pretty organized, but you always come home a little messy.
That becomes chaos.
Yeah, a little. But you know,
How do you deal with the
I'm
dirty
an
clothes
unpacker.
though? How do you deal with the dirty clothes?
Well, on tour you like do your laundry.
No, I know. Like for the time being though, like from place to place. Like
oh, I have a bag.
you have a Ziploc, like
Not a Ziploc.
not a Ziploc, a garbage bag, or like what do you have?
No. I'm not an animal.
So a specific bag for your dirty clothes.
Yes, I have a specific bag for my dirty clothes. No, you know what? One of those packing cubes turns into a dirty clothes. Okay. And then I can wash the packing cube as well.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I was just curious about that. I was like, usually I just grab like a trash bag and like throw them in there and then I stuff it in. I was like, this isn't fitting.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there.
Okay.
I've been there. I mean, your dirty clothes always weigh more than your clean clothes. Yeah. So you always come home from a trip with a heavier bag, even if you didn't purchase a single thing. If you don't do your laundry.
Why does that make sense? Do we have so much sentiment on
I don't know. It's really
it's
weird. It's really weird. I'm like, it doesn't pack the same. But no, I've had the luxury of like, yes, I've toured America, I think 5 times.
Wow. What's your favorite places in America?
In America? So many amazing little tiny little towns. I mean, I did a theater tours.
Yeah.
So like we would do a few arenas, but mostly smaller theaters. There's one theater, I think it's in Atlanta, called the Fox Theater. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. One of my favorite theaters ever. But I would say like my favorite journeys have been like abroad. And I've been places like for a few months on end where I really get to sink my teeth into the city and get to know the culture and I don't know, experience it.
It's different. There's a lot of different worlds out there within this one that we have.
Oh, it is wild. It's so crazy. I've had the pleasure of visiting like India and like, you know, Hindu people, but then I've also had the pleasure of going to the Middle East and Saudi Arabia and like learn Muslim culture. And
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know many people who've been in those places.
Yeah, no, they're kind of like you don't normally go there unless you're, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to my first Indian wedding next month.
Oh, you're gonna have the best time.
It's like a 3-day thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Indian weddings are the best.
All right, I'm excited.
Oh, get ready. You're going to party your face off. And they like to dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
I went to a Polish wedding in 2021, and that was like around the same thing, 3 days, and then like they'd party until 6 a.m. I was like, this is wild. Everyone had their own bottle of Belvedere right next to their dinner table. I was like, this is crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I mean, India is so special to me. I spent some time in Mumbai, did a TV show out there with Paul.
Nice.
And the people there, it's so interesting when you travel outside of the US because people are so eager to show you their culture and to host you and to take care of you and show you around and like give you their culture.
Yeah.
And it's so special, especially the Indian people. They were the kindest people I've ever met. But Americans are not that way. Like, you know, somebody comes from name that place and you're like, oh yeah, we'll get dinner. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it.
It's a very
we're boring.
We're so boring and we're not great hosts, let's be honest. But
I like to think I'm a good host.
No, you are a good host. You are a good host, but culturally it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know, we're not like it's just so different.
Yeah, I have a friend who lived in some part of, I think, Costa Rica, and she was talking about how they were caught in like the rainforest or something, and they were hiding underneath this like hut that just like it was pouring rain, and this kid and mom opens up the door and invites them in their house and cooks them dinner, and it's like this house that has like dirt floors, and like they only have so much food, and they bring it out, they cook, and they gave it to them.
Yeah.
And they were like talking about your perspective or the thing about other cultures. Like, I don't know if I would do that. Like, just
totally.
putting that, like, if I see someone outside my door, like, I don't know if I'm gonna.
Don't come in my house.
I know.
That's how we are.
I know, and it's shitty to say because like I want to be better in that light or in that aspect, but it's hard, all the bad stories that you hear from like people doing something like that. It's here in the United States.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing. The word hospitality is a very different thing here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible that your friend got to experience that firsthand. Like that's so, I think, magical.
Yeah. Like Taylor, you know Taylor Dean?
Yeah.
Yeah. She talked about her experience in India, I think. And some lady did the same thing and brought her on, and they never turn on the AC, and they turned it on for Taylor. And I was like, whoa, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's so nice. Like that type of kindness is something that like at least I'm still trying to like strive for, because I hear about these stories and I'm just like, wow, like I think I'm a kind person, but then I think about that and I'm like, wow, like I don't know if I could do that.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, a small example is like I was working in India, and like a boy had a scarf, and they were like showing me around and like, look at this place, whatever, showing us around. And he took like this like little scarf around his neck and like put it on me, and I was like, oh no, and they're like, yes. And mind you, these people live in tarp huts.
Yeah.
Like, clearly have nothing. Like, not like, but the generosity and the kindness and the willingness to like connect and give is just unmatched. It's really cool. And I experienced, you know, a similar experience in Saudi Arabia. Not so like life-changing, but I was driving around with my boss and a few of our coworkers, and we saw some camels like walking out on the side of the road, and we're like, oh, camels, because I'm a 5-year-old, and I'm like, I
like,
need
oh
to
my
pet
God,
it.
I want to touch it.
It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die. But you know, we pulled over, we ended up like, you know, trying to pet them, and there was like a farm owner that walked out. These camels did not look like they were on a farm. We were on the side of the road. And he was like, what are you doing? Our translator was like helping out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, please come into our home. Like, please, like, which is a very different experience that I had in other parts of Saudi Arabia. That was a huge eye-opening experience. But But these people were so kind and so eager to be like, these are our camels and this is our home and drink the camel milk. And
Camel milk.
camel milk.
How was that? Did it taste like cow milk?
It tasted like caramel milk. No, it was a little sweet, but it was like sandy.
Sandy.
Like you could like feel you know what I mean? Like the little grit.
Sandy. I've never heard some food or drink described as sandy.
I think the bowl was sandy.
I might
I'm
have to use
hoping the
that.
milk wasn't sandy, but you know when you can like
Yeah.
like chew the drink?
For sure. You're like, oh,
No.
it tastes delicious.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, nice. Okay, thank you.
Thank
and they're
you,
like,
thank you.
yeah, good. Drink more. I'm like, no, I'm okay, thank you. But like, you know, just small things like that.
And what do you think all these experiences have done for you? Accumulatively.
Accumulatively? That's a hard word.
I don't know if that's right.
It is. No,
Okay.
it is. No, it is. It is. I think that the experience of travel has brought gratitude into my life and respect and yeah, I think those two things. I think I like the respect of people on a human level because here you are connecting with people on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
Like, what? How special is that? You're so far away from your home, but yet you can forge really strong and real human connections with these people based on simple communication.
Yeah.
Because you don't always speak the same language. And the root of that communication is joy or love, really, or kindness. I think they all go hand
One
in
and the
hand.
same.
Yeah, they're synonymous. So I think that at its core is what travel has brought into my life.
Nice.
And wonderment.
Yeah.
Like always just being down to
Yeah.
being like, oh, I wonder what this will bring.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And yeah, I think just through touring specifically and through these experiences, you have to relinquish a sense of control and like expectation of what you're going to receive out of the experience because you're not going there for vacation. You don't have an itinerary. Like you're there to do
Doing
your
your job, and then you got
if
some
you
free
have
time.
some free time, then
Yeah.
maybe you'll go for a walk.
Yeah.
You know? And so kind of just being okay wandering and wondering.
Yeah. And be curious and like looking for things that come your way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and also the last thing I'll add is like I think that has given me such a gift of like openness because when you travel, especially I've traveled so much by myself. Like if I'm in an area, I'll stay an extra couple days
Just experience it.
just to be there. Yeah. And through that, it teaches you to be open and teaches you to connect with other people. Like it's okay to look someone in the eye. It's okay to smile at someone. It's okay to have a chop it up with a random person
Conversation. Yeah.
and connect with them. And really that's all we're looking for in life is to connect with other people
Sure.
and to share honesty in real moments, whether it's a fleeting moment or if it's a long-lasting moment, relationship, whatever that may be. But I think that has been the greatest gift of like my journey in entertainment as a whole, whether it's travel or not, because these projects that you work on are so fast and so fleeting and so temporary.
It's hard to get lost.
It's easy to get lost.
Easy to get lost, that's what I meant.
And it's hard to forge real
Relationships
and connections with
yeah.
people. And if you always lead with kindness and lead with acceptance and openness, then you will be able to forge
those
moments. Yeah. And like that's what it's about, connecting with other creative people or just other humans, connecting with other humans, whether that be at play or at work. That's all I think any of us are searching for. Yeah.
Nice. We'll close with there's a lot of, I guess, little girls who might be listening to this or something who like want to be in the position you're in, or achieve the things you've achieved, or dance in the places that you dance, or travel in the like places of the world that you've traveled in. Like, if you had to give them some advice on like what to do to achieve some of these things, like what would you give them?
I would say that the biggest advice that I would give to anyone trying to achieve anything is kindness. Kindness to yourself as you're learning and developing and growing a skill. Kindness and grace. And confidence. I truly, truly think that confidence is the driving factor of your life. And whether that be 15 seconds of confidence and courage to muster up before a big pitch, or before a performance, or before talking to that guy across the room, or whatever, or just confidence as a whole. You know, you can have bouts of confidence. You're not going to be confident always, for sure. But mustering up the courage to be confident is what's going to push you to go forward, for sure. And I think, you know, believing in yourself, confidence, they're all kind of the same thing, right? But I think those two things will get you wherever you want to go.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Brittany Cherry.
Thank you for having me.
Where can everyone find you?
You can find me online on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at itsbrittcherry.com.
Sweet.
What.com? Who am I? At It's Britt Cherry with 2 T's spelt like the fruit.
The fruit.
Yeah.
Oh, cherry.
Cherry.
Okay, yes. Like the fruit. Go check her out, guys. Link will be down there. Go check it out, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Peace. Cheers.